Spooky month, baby. What's going on? How are you guys doing? Been looking forward to the live stream. Isn't it funny how like the music that I select completely like dictates the mood? Like completely dictates the mood. I'd say 100%. Who is an enemy? What do you mean? You cooking right now? What you got cooking up in the lab? Jesse, we have to cook. Hey Amanda, happy early birthday to you. We'll be watching spooky flicks after this. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Just depends on how fast we bang this out. And I'm a little bit late today in my ideal time for sleepers. Hey, Anika, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. And you now have access to bonus content. Check the bonus content playlist. There is a new video out in there called Devil on a Leash. Someone said hello, friends and enemies. Oh, word. Sorry, I'm not paying attention. Yeah, even the enemies tune in to listen. Even though I don't really have any enemies. Maybe some. But they're not my enemy. It would have to only exist within their own head. Love your voice and intelligence. Thanks, Heather. That's a nice thing to say. New month and my green is gone. Oh, I'm sorry, Randine. I'm sure you'll get it back at some point. The background image sets the mood as much as the music. I like this one. Yeah, this one's really good. And I feel, yeah, something about the music goes really well with this one. I guess it goes well with all of them, honestly. They're all like super chill. Currently watching from the UK. Thank you, Baltic. Buccaneer, good to see you. Your enemies are our enemies. As a family. Joel's only enemy is Turkish pronunciation. Yeah, that was coming from my throat, bro. Turkish prisons. Kids are in bed. It's time for some spooky stories. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, tonight we got a Halloween-related video coming out for tomorrow. And I had an idea, since it's like all related to like parties and costume parties and stuff. I thought like, are you guys familiar with the sort of newspaper cutout type art style? It's almost like a collage. I feel like you sometimes see them like animated, where like some crumpled up newspaper comes across the screen, and then two things pop up and kind of shake from left to right a little bit. But I was thinking that, but then you have the famous monsters from all the scary movies and stuff, or not all of them, but like the really famous ones pop up kind of like near each other, like they're all at like a Halloween party together or something. Amapola. There we go. I think I said it right there. Why is it so hard for me to say it every time? You gotta have. Do you have a nickname? You're studying for linear algebra exam tomorrow and tuning in. Linear algebra. What is that? That sounds like you're working for NASA. Or is linear algebra just like, what is it? X times Y plus B or some shit? I came here from H3 Productions. Foot Soldiers Unite. Ethan said, your video was sexy. I'm just checking it out. Ethan talked about me? Oh, what a nice... Wait, you're joking. H3 said something about me? I'm about to fanboy. You're actually joking. I don't even believe you. I know some people in here watch the H3 podcast. Like a ransom note? Oh yeah, like a ransom note. I should absolutely be studying for my human physiology exam, but I'm a vibe with you guys for a bit. Dude, fuck yeah. Human physiology. What does that entail? Is that just like is that like anatomy and physiology now? Because I remember I used to be like AP courses. H3 says he wishes he was cool as me. It's oddly enough, I have a friend that's like exactly like Ethan, like Pola, like polar bear. Oh, there you go. We'll just call you Pola, or just call you Polar Bear. Ever seen Live Leaks or Orgish? I've never seen Orgish, but I've definitely seen Live Leaks. I remember I thought I saw like a meme or something, or maybe I thought of it in my head, or maybe I subconsciously thought in my mind that it's that I made it up. Maybe I didn't. You know how you do that? You like say a joke and you're like, I thought of that, and you're like, no, somebody else did, and you just forgot. But the idea was like, I swear to God, oh yeah. No, actually, I did see this meme. I'm an idiot. But basically, it was like some kid, and he sees the Live Leak logo appear above his head, and he's like freaking out. He's like running away from the camera, trying to get away. David De La Rosa Jr., thank you for the 2, says hi, Joel. Just 3 more days until vacation is over. No, that's okay. You're refreshed, you're recuperated, and you're going to go back in there swinging. Just anybody on your way to the coffee pot, you're just throwing bows. Just kidding. You're going to be popping off. This is kind of a sick tune right here. Who's this? Blurred Monster in the House. I like that. Must be missing out on this H3. I mean, I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, I hate talking shade on people, but there certainly is an arc to the man that is Ethan. You know, the arc before LA, the arc when he got to LA, and this sort of inconsistency with the perspectives that he hold. You know, like, I remember I felt really, really strange whenever he had Jordan Peterson on, and it seemed as if though they were, you know, kind of, you know, they were kind of in a bit of a parlay, even though I don't really think they opposed each other prospectively at all. But then suddenly he had like some sort of big falling out with him on Twitter and stuff, and I thought that was a really strange thing to do whenever there was really no specific negative energy thrown at him, you know, thrown at Ethan. It was as if though he maybe, I mean, sometimes it makes sense to kind of create controversy to like generate viewership, even if you generate haters, sometimes that's actually a good thing because it draws traffic to it draws eyes to you that you may not have otherwise had during that period of time. So maybe that was like sort of the plan, inadvertently. But I just thought it was strange. I don't know. The internet's a weird world because when you get people together, like when you get two humans together in person, they're actually like usually pretty respectful to one another, and they can usually attempt to see each other's viewpoints and communicate pretty averagely, pretty normally, pretty respectfully. But then it's suddenly you create this abstract disconnect of the computer screen and the internet and the ideologies and sort of groupthink that starts to arise within those sort of smaller niches of people. And then whatever, level of logic that you hold as an individual, sometimes it kind of disappears. It starts to mesh into the identity that you formed with the people and the ideologies that you encircle yourself with. And you kind of lose your individuality in that sense, or you lose your basic problem solving skills, I guess. I don't know. What's the old saying where it's like an individual is intelligent, but like a group of people is psychotic or something like that, It's just human psychology, and it's kind of strange. What's your costume for Halloween, Joel? I'm still unsure at this point. I don't know. Probably just Danny DeVito mixed with Wesley Snipes as Blade. It's always kind of the ideal man. That all the crap I talk online is crap I say in real life. That's why I'm so annoying. Oh, well, that's okay. I mean, it's, you just have to understand, I've come across a lot of people that they say things to groups of people or their friends sometimes and think that their friends agree with them on something because the friend doesn't really necessarily disagree in that moment. But I think it's important to have friends around you that will disagree with you so that you can see that your perspective might not necessarily be, the truth per se. I feel like the truth is always somewhere in the middle between a perspective you once had and somebody else's opposing idea. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the whole thing. And that's kind of one of the benefits, I feel like, of operating within the realm of just getting paid to have opinions on things within the sort of overarching political or commentary community, is that oftentimes you don't really have to challenge yourself too much by having live discussions or debates with anybody. You can kind of just, and I think that's one of the more unfortunate aspects of the evolution of our political zeitgeist or energy right now, is that if you look at political leaders, they don't really have debates. They don't really discuss things, or if they do, they do it just because it's kind of par for the course, and you just have to go through those motions. But I think it's important for people to have those almost weekly or daily or whatever, just so that both, because sometimes I think a lot of YouTube personalities kind of build themselves up as being impervious to external opinions, and people will circle their wagons around you or around them to defend them or create a culture that's just this shell. And you don't want to create that shell, because the shell just ends up creating division amidst people that essentially are your people. They are your people, and you got to stick with your people. Otherwise, you're going to exist in a divided realm. David, thank you again for the 2. Took A&P lab and lecture for the first time during summer, which is a shortened term along with a full schedule, and sadly didn't pass, so I had to take it again and pass. Well, that's good you passed the second time. And AP courses are very difficult, and not everyone. Sometimes it really comes down to the professor on whether or not courses are passable in the first go. Hey, Derek, I'll be your weekly debater, Joel. You gotta keep up the homies humble. No, for real, I mean, I think people need to have those live discussions with somebody of the opposing perspective all the time, because how can you truly understand the world? And then for the people that like label other people as like per se enemies, you got to meet in like a parlay, because sometimes the individuals that follow you or hold your opinion in high regard might just they kind of exist in an ongoing fallacy, like a logical fallacy, where you reduce everyone's opposing opinion to, ad hominem, where you attack their character, but also like that idea of like, what's that idea where it's like, oh shit, I lost my train of thought there. But shit. But yeah, long story short, is this starting soon? It is. 2 minutes. We'll kick it off here. We'll get reading. But yeah, you don't want your audience existing in a state of like ad hominem against somebody else, because then it's almost as if though you're constantly setting the example that that's okay, when that just necessarily isn't the okay thing to always do. And in fact, if your opinions are powerful, if they are truthful, or they are interesting, they should be able to hold up on their own, I think. Buttersock Prophet with the 10 says, I have an announcement to make this Tuesday. The game, the King of Kings, Jacob, returns to the Buttersock cult to continue his dominance, so Tuesday will be time to play the game. Hell yeah, I can't wait. Thank you, Buttersock Cult Prophet. If we don't debate, we all exist in an echo chamber. And I think a lot of people learned a lot about echo chambers over the past 4 or 5 years, 6 years, whatever this duration of time has been. And I'm hoping over time we're kind of getting away from that, because the more we dig into that, the more that the groups, those individual echo chambers will lead to, going back to my previous point of like a fallacy of basically just reducing every opinion of the opposing perspective to be some sort of like danger. Like it's a danger to society to have like a opposing concept, or in most situations like an ad hominem that like encapsulates everything they do. And then most of the time the person doesn't actually get to defend themselves. You just keep calling them that, and then it just sort of creates a ongoing feedback loop of just negativity. And I just think that's really unhealthy for most human minds to be especially ones that are very easily influenced, like younger minds or ones that haven't seen as much. It's just not a mature thing to do. Hey, Shanus. Thank you for the 5 gifters to Catbird, Susie Dunn, What the Hex, Joshy Boy 1998, and Derek Weber. There you go, my friends. 5 of you are now gifted. You've been blessed with some bonus content. I love that the voice is naturally soothing. Thank you. Okay, let's read. Thanks, Mel Cooks. What's happening? Oh yeah, okay, let's read. That's true. Time to read. You guys ready for this? You guys ready to hear something cool? Look what we got in the background, baby. Some new ambience to take you away to new planes. I had Simon, or Enect, as he is better known as, create a nice little Halloween ambience for this specific background. For spooky month. Make your loins ache. Hell yeah, dude. Loins be loining. Filling with juices. Luna, or Unaluna. Welcome back for 15 months. Thank you so much. Good to see you. But let me know if the background, like, ambient noise is not loud enough, because I had it up at its normal volume. I had to turn it down like 10 decibels. I look comfy. Yeah, I'm just like marinating in my own juices there. Does anyone fall asleep to his readings, and sometimes whatever he's reading slips into your dreams? That's what it is, lulling you into beautiful nightmares. But yeah, just let me know if I need to turn up the ambience a little bit or if it's at a good volume. And once again, tonight we have some Halloween costume party style stories. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them to burn through. What's he saying with that little blue guy? He's saying mischievous dog. It's an homage to my favorite person on YouTube, Chills. Buttersock called Prophet with another 10 says it reminds me. Have you noticed that ever since Jacob destroyed the sex bot giant at Judgment Day on June 25th, no more sex bots have invaded the Buttersock cult? Jacob has brought peace to the cult. He truly has. He's kept those heathens at bay. David De La Rosa, thank you for the 1 as well. All right. Let's do this thing. Isn't Halloween the best? I was never a huge fan of Halloween until I got to college. Me and my girls would get all dolled up and have these massive parties every year. It's something we've continued well into our adulthood. Well, let me rephrase that when I mean by dolled up. We take Halloween very seriously. We don't just wear skimpy costumes for the sakes of being cute. We get extremely dressed up and go all out. Several years ago, my fiancé went as Wolverine and I went as Rogue from the X-Men. Our costumes were homemade and I would argue better than the films. Last year, he went as a post-apocalyptic Willy Wonka and I was a zombified Oompa Loompa. So yeah, when I say dolled up, I mean we go all out. I don't remember the exact year, but it was definitely more than 5 years ago and I was in my 20s. I hadn't met my fiancé yet at that point, so I was still a single lady and... Oops. I hadn't met my fiancé yet, so I was still... Hold on a second. Fucking choking on my... choking on spit here, sorry. Sorry, okay. And Buttersock called Prophet with another 10 says, speaking of Jacob, tonight the game will make a surprise appearance tonight. He will tell you, Joel, what his idea is of this month's bonus content will be. I actually was thinking this exact scene right here, right? This chill, ambient, hanging out in the, basking in my Joel Juice's hot tub, because I'm a hot tub streamer now. I'm a hot tub VTuber, and I was thinking, because honestly, there's a lot of like cool, like I really like, you'll probably pick up on some of it, but there's a lot of really cool like little Halloween nuances, and I was thinking that would be a great piece of bonus content. But thank you again, Buttersock called Propheto. I hadn't met my fiancé yet, so I was still a single lady, as Beyonce would say. The specific year's Halloween costume party was going to be at my friend's Bella's house. The specific year's Halloween costume party was going to be at my friend Bella's house. She had gotten married that summer, and this was the first big party she was having at her and her husband's new home. It was a big, beautiful home with a ton of land. He was a lawyer or something like that, and she had some government jobs, so they did all right financially. Every year since we started the costume party tradition, my friends and I would come up with a theme for our costumes. That year the theme was morbid fairy tales. I was dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, except I was dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, except I had just butchered the big bad wolf, so my costume had a lot of fake blood and I was wearing a lot of grotesque fake wounds. As always, my costume was getting a lot of attention. I loved the attention because I always worked really hard on my costume. And earlier in the night, I noticed someone standing in the kitchen. It was a person with a smaller frame body, and they were wearing slightly baggy jeans, a navy blue sweat. Buttersuck Prophet with the 2 says, Joel, will you be open to Jacob's idea? I mean, Jacob can, Mr. Jacob can definitely tell me any ideas he wants, and I'm always open. It was a person with a smaller frame, and they were wearing slightly baggy jeans, a navy blue sweatshirt, and they were wearing a Frankenstein mask. I pointed out this detail about the person in the kitchen because it felt like the person was kind of just staring right at me. And I don't mean that kind of stare that I get on Halloween because of my costume being intense. This stare felt almost weird, a little malicious. You can say what you want about feelings, but I had a feeling in my gut about that person. So much of a feeling that I left the area and went to stand in the living room on the other side of the house. A few hours went by, tons of mingling and talking to people, and then I noticed that person again. This time they were standing on the back porch, and it still looked like they were sort of staring at me. I don't know why it made me so unnerved and uncomfortable, but it did. The way Bella's house was set up was that the living room was all windows except for a big sliding door. The door opened to a huge wraparound porch, and people were outside on the porch drinking and having a good time since it was a beautiful night. Except this Frankenstein person who was just standing against one of the wooden railings on the porch, staring inside the windows, still seemingly directly at me. I tried to get Bella so I could ask her who that person was, or at the very least I could see if I was just kind of being paranoid. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Bella alone, and I didn't want to start any issues at the party. I walked away and tried to focus on having a good time. Thankfully, not long had passed and I had sort of forgotten about old Frankenstein. The people at the party started to thin out at around midnight. At this point during the night, I had completely forgotten all about the masked person, and I really wished that I hadn't because I was about to be reminded of them in the worst possible way. Bella's house is on a small hill. The basement of the house has a door that leads to the backyard. The way the house sits, the backyard is level with the basement, and the front of the house is elevated from the hill. I know that may sound confusing, but it's the best way that I can describe the house, and it's important to know for this next part of the story. Outside of the basement door in the back of the house underneath the wraparound porch was where Bella kept all her trash and recyclables. I decided to stay a little later and help Bella clean since the house was a mess. I told her that I'd take down all the boxes from the kitchen and throw them in the recycling bin. Now, if I had remembered how uncomfortable I felt earlier in the night from that masked person, I would have never have done this alone, but as they say, hindsight is always 20/20. I made one trip down to the basement and out the door with no issues. When I re-entered the basement from outside, I thought that I heard some shuffling in the basement. I listened intently for a second, but didn't hear anything. I didn't know the house that well, so it's entirely possible that the house was just making some weird noises. That's what I told myself anyway. I went upstairs and grabbed another load of recyclables. When I got downstairs, I noticed the outside door was shut. I knew I left it open because I didn't want to have to set down all the recyclables to open the door. Assuming it was the wind or some kind of draft, I just set everything down so I could open the door again. As I was putting the boxes of bottles down, I happened to look to my right, and I saw that green Frankenstein mask reflecting some light. In that moment, I was immediately reminded of how I felt earlier in the evening. The worst part was that they didn't move. I don't think they noticed me right away. I tried to move slowly and calmly to the doors so I didn't bring any attention to myself. As soon as I grabbed the doorknob, the figure charged from the hidden... What the fuck? As soon as I see. Hey, Nikki H with a 10 says, haven't been in the chat in a while. All my love and hope you are doing well. Thank you, Nikki. Same to you. Good to see you. There was a Megadeth reference? I didn't even hear it. Wait, buffering? Says stream quality's good. I think we're good. House farts. Sometimes my house lets out a little fart. As soon as I grabbed the doorknob, the figure charged from their hiding position. I screamed, but I don't think anybody heard me since Bella and a few people who were left upstairs were blasting music while they were cleaning. The person puts me in a bear hug. My voice cracked. "What's up, Laura?" The person bear hugged me, but as... Oh, whoops. Jeez. The person put me in a bear hug, but as I said earlier, they were on the smaller side, so I was able to shake them off. It freed me up for a second that I needed to open the door and run into the backyard. I was still screaming, hoping that somebody would hear me. I looked back while I was running, and they were chasing me. What a horrible memory that is burned into my mind. I must have made enough noise in the backyard because Bella's husband saw me from the kitchen and ran as fast as he could to chase that Frankenstein person. He tackled the person to the ground, and the grunt I heard surprised me. Bella ran outside already on the phone with the police, and her husband ripped the mask off, and it was a woman underneath the Frankenstein mask. She was screaming and crying. She looked crazy and 10 times scarier with the mask off. The police showed up and did apprehend the woman. Bella asked if I knew who they were, and not only did I know her, not know her. Sounds like I got bear hugged and choked. Rain Sophia Lewis, thank you for the 5 gifters. 2 Randine Basosa, Matthias, Nicole, DJ Pempek, D-Lord Blackhead, welcome my friends. 2 The Buttersock Cult, you now have access to bonus content. You had no idea I do lives. Yep, we for the live streams I'm recording the stories for tomorrow, so there may be a lot of stops and stalls. But thank you again, Rain. Jensen, what's up, doggy? I'm so cool. Thank you. Bella asked if I knew the woman, and not only did I not know her, but I had never seen her before in my life. After some time had passed and we got the entire story, we realized how messed up it was. This poor woman attacked me thinking that I was somebody else. You see, she had recently separated from her husband and thought that I was the woman that her husband was now seeing and potentially cheating with prior. In some weird coincidence, me and the woman that she thought I was share a name. She found me on social media and saw me posting about this party. I don't know what she planned on doing to that poor woman, and thank God I'll never figure it out. Now I understand a broken heart can make you do some insane things, but this is something that I never expected to happen. And at the end of the day, I just hope this woman gets the help that she needs. At least now I'll always have a crazy Halloween story that I can share. Batsy Girl, thank you for the 5 gifters. Man, you guys are gifting it up tonight. Thank you. To Sarah, Polar Bear, aka Pola, Fuck You, Lexi B, and Bia R. Welcome, my friends, to the Buttersock Cult. It's a great hobby for me because there's so many different areas to work on: costumes, props, posing for photos. It's always something different every day. Wait, what were you doing? Alright, I guess that was story 1. That was kind of 0 to 100, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes in the world. What's up, man? Wife out of town, had a cocktail and have the bed to myself for the night. Nice. How's it feel? Is it good to have a free night, or do you feel lonely? Last cult I was in, they didn't share the Kool-Aid. Unlucky. I just found your channel. Do the lives also get posted? They do, but I keep them unlisted because in the past that's kind of just how I did it before they actually added a live stream tab. So I still do that, where I just set it to unlisted after and put it in a playlist. So if you want to go back and watch the old streams, they're all in like an old playlist called Streams. It's very creatively named. Mischievous frog. Hugh Janus is here. Hell yeah, dude. It was succinct and that was a win in my book. That's true. I guess some stories just kind of drag on forever, so it's good to just kind of get to the motherfucking point. So let me be the first to acknowledge that in my mid-20s, I was a dirtbag. I was a single man that basically was doing whatever I wanted. And when I think back to that time in my life, I tend to kind of cringe. I did a lot of bad things, hurt a lot of people, and truly I was just a piece of garbage. There were a few times, though, that I was served a nice big piece of humble pie, though. Whether it was the cops arresting me or being knocked out because I overestimated my ability. However, one late October night, I was served the biggest piece of that humble pie I mentioned. I hate Halloween, and I always have. I was the kid that went trick-or-treating with my friends without a costume, and I was the same kid that would cuss out the person giving out candy that wouldn't give me any because I didn't have a costume. I told you, I was cringe. This hate for Halloween continued into my adult years. I would date girls that wanted to dress up, and I just refused. And it got to the point where I wouldn't even go to the parties around Halloween because I just didn't get it. One year, though, I had a change of heart. Not because I magically started to like Halloween or anything like that. Instead, obviously, it was because I met a girl. Her name was Bree. Her name was Bree. Why hate Halloween? I don't know. He didn't seem to give a reason. I guess it is kind of a weird thing, per se, but it's fun. It's fun. Come on. Cringe alert. Major cringe alert. Her name was Bree, and she was my type. I just casually met her at the bar on a random Tuesday night in October, and we got to talking, and of course, I fell for her. Whoop. We just got to talking, and of course, her love for Halloween came up, and she could see my disgust. I told her all of the stories and went on and on about why I hated Halloween, and she seemed to kind of understand, but then said in an almost seductive voice, "I really think you need to reconsider." Now, being the condescending jerk that I was, I laughed and told her no way. She pointed to the corner of the bar, and there were 3 other girls over there. Much like Bree, all 3 of these women were my type. Bree waved, and the women waved back. I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together in my mind, but I couldn't figure out what Bree was getting out. In that same sort of seductive voice, she then says, "Those are my girls. We're going to a Halloween party in the middle of the woods, and none of us have dates. You should be our date tonight." I kid you not, that's exactly what she said to me. All I did was smiled and continue laughing, mostly ironically, and Bree started to rub my hand and gave me all sorts of good vibes. Now, without going into details, Bree talked me into this Halloween party. The kind of person that I was back then never was going to say no to this type of the implication. You see, it's the implications. Giving you the zoomies, nice. Sprinting around the room. I love that one meme of that guy where he gets something from the mail and then he runs towards the camera and he's like, and he slams his just slams his feet onto the ground. But he lives above somebody, and I feel like he wakes them up every time. That's me. That's me on Halloween. Yeah, me and Pradeep are gonna dress up as each other. He'll get to run the streams. What's up, mercenary? Blah. The kind of person I was back then was never going to say no to this type of implication. When I was leaving the bar that night with all of these beautiful women, it never occurred to me just how many red flags there truly were. For starters, who has a Halloween party on a random Tuesday night? Was it possible, of course? Well, I didn't realize that was a question. Was it possible? Of course, but not very likely, I guess. Also, who just trusts some random dude at the bar to escort them to the woods? They didn't know me at all. I realize people meet each other in bars all the time and go to parties and gatherings, but the circumstances here just seemed very strange. But I was an ignorant guy, and the way that I saw it was that I got to spend my evening with 4 beautiful women, and I had a full night of fun on my mind. I drove my car with Bree and one of the other girls. The other 2 women drove separately. I was instructed to follow the other car because she knew the way to the party. Now this was back before GPSs, so this was my back before GPSs. Background noise is next level. Nice, I'm glad you're liking it. Now this was before GPSs, so this was my version of GPS that... God, what the fuck? I'm 41 and I've been into Halloween my entire life, dressing up as a pregnant Wanda from WandaVision this year. Nice. Are you pregnant? This was before GPSs, so this was my version of a GPS that night. We drove for a while, long enough that I was starting to have doubts about my decision-making. Bree was smart and attentive, though. Every time I thought of doubt passed through my mind, it was like she kinda knew. And that's when she'd kiss my neck or start saying some wild things, and the doubt would all disappear just like that. And finally, the car in front pulled over to the side of the road, and I followed suit. Wherever we were, there wasn't a light to be found. 2 of the girls pulled out flashlights and sort of gestured for me to follow them. There was a small path that almost looked hidden in this thick brush on the side of the road. The 3 women walked in front with the flashlights, and Bree and I followed from behind. I was trying to listen for any type of noise like music or talking, but just heard nothing but the sort of quiet stillness of the forest. Without any no-ness. Now, honest question though, do you think the sounds in the back of this video or the back of this stream would be good for like an actual video, or would it be like distracting? I started watching the newest video for members only, got pulled away because of work, and when I came back it was after midnight. My membership was over. So sad, I just can't afford one. Oh, no worries, Shelby, I'm sorry. That's crazy. I'm sorry that you lost the ability to watch it like right in the middle of watching it. That's crazy. Yeah, he's letting his Johnson do all the thinking. Welcome to my world. You have a great voice. I'm new to the live but long-time listener. Thanks so much for making lots of long content. I'm a massage therapist and often listen to Let's Read while I work. That's awesome. You put that on while massaging? That's freaking sweet. That'd be so funny if like every one of your clients just like pass out. Oh, you can barely hear them? See what the audience's reaction is. It's just, if I turn it up too loud, it's almost like, I don't know, maybe you get used to it. But I have it down at a level that when I did a recording of, because you can record in your streaming, the OBS here, prior to starting up your live just to see what it sounds like, and it sounded like I had it at a good level that wasn't too bad. Without any notice, the girls in front started to sprint. Now Bree held me back. At this point, I was just going along with anything. She started to guide me back towards one of the trees, and was so dark that I could barely see. There was just enough moonlight that I could barely make out the details of her face, and when I finally felt the tree on my... Sorry, I can't follow these sentences very well. I gotta sneeze. Was able to recover the audio I lost. I did. I actually used the stream to edit it, but I ended up making like 2 or 3 mistakes in the video, but people thought it was funny, so it is what it is. I think it'll be good. I can't wait for Dark Ace Animation to their talent to this. Dark Ace Animation. Beans, good to see you. There was just enough moonlight that I could barely make out the details of her face. When I finally felt the tree on my back, Bree looked up at me like she was going to kiss me. I closed my eyes and sort of leaned in for a kiss, and that's where everything changed. Instead of locking lips, I was hit in the head. Instead of locking lips, I was hit in the head with the backside of what I think was a flashlight. I covered my head instinctively because it hurt really bad, and that's when another shot from the flashlight came down on top of my head. That strike got me down on my knees. I didn't realize that Bree had a purse when we were walking. When she was guiding me toward the tree, she quietly pulled it out, and I didn't notice until it struck me in. Purse? So you got hit with a flashlight and then a purse? I'm so confused. He screamed out loud from the sneeze. That's funny. It was a jump scare sneeze. It was planned. It's fun to say bless you for random other bodily functions. Yeah, when you fart and stuff. You got sent to horny jail. When she was guiding me toward the tree, she quietly pulled it out, and I didn't notice it until she struck me in the head with that as well. While I was down, I could hear the sounds of footsteps rapidly approaching, and I glanced from my near fetal position and saw the girls from before coming directly at me. Instead of helping me like I thought maybe they would, they started to beat me down with the flashlights as well. And before long, I was in the full fetal position trying to cover my head. All 4 women were beating me with the flashlights while throwing in some high-heeled kicks in the ribs. They took my wallet, and they took my cell phone. Now at the time I was broke and it was just some crappy flip phone, but at least if I had had that, I could have called the police. After they grabbed the wallet, they kicked me a few more times and ran back the way they came. And I even heard the car drive away, and I just laid there down on the dirt ground for a long time. I finally got up, and I walked towards my car. It felt like a truck had just hit me. Thankfully, they couldn't find my keys, but they did smash my windshield and passenger side door. I was in so much pain, but I drove until I found a 24-hour gas station that I had to I was in so much pain, but I drove until I found a 24-hour gas station and had the lady there call the police. So I ended up giving the names and descriptions of the women to the police, but needless to say, they never found them. Clearly, this Bree, it wasn't her real name. The entire time I followed that car, I never bothered to even pay attention to what type of car it was. I didn't even know if it was black, dark gray, or even some navy-colored car. And it wasn't long after that night that I truly started to make some changes to my life. I'm lucky that I was able to crawl away from that with just a few broken ribs. And it freaks me out sometimes when I think about those girls and realize that they're probably still out there. And even now, in my late 30s, I still hate the Halloween season. I thought they were gonna leave some sort of coven symbol or some shit on the car. Like it was a bunch of witches. apologize for my belligerent behavior last stream. Hope you can forgive me. Belligerent? I don't remember. What did you do? Were you being naughty? A no good, a no goodie. Yeah, he was paying for all the bad boyfriends those girls have had, taking the brunt of it. I went as Jessica Rabbit and Hubs was Roger. My son, Banana Eats. Banana Eats? Was that a character from Roger Rabbit? They're robbing a Twinkie factory. That sounds awesome. For the last 6 years, the company I worked for has held an awesome Halloween party. 6 years ago, the owners had changed hands, and the new owners love Halloween. The only other time of the year the company hosts a party is for Christmas, and that party is your typical corporate party. The Halloween party is not at all what you would expect from a company party. The owners go out of their way to make sure the party's awesome. The best catering, open bar, and even a driving service so nobody has to drive home after they've been drinking. The coolest thing about the Halloween party, though, is the costume contest. This isn't just your best costume wins type contest, it's so much more. The company incentivizes everyone to partake by offering a $500 gift card and a vacation destination every year. The owners pay for everything themselves and make sure everyone has a good time no matter what. One of the rules they described after the first year was that the same person could not win twice. That's a bummer for me because I won the second year. Now, instead of participating in the contest, I'm one of the judges, which is awesome. It's usually just the upper management team that judges, and they're a bit older than everybody else. Now, with me as one of the judges, I'm able to provide a more youthful eye, which is needed a lot of the time because some of the costumes are from pop culture, an older crowd. Damn. I hate, I sneeze one time and then it just feels like my shit's just clogged. I've got clogged shit. LaFay, thank you for the gifter too, Mr. Fry. Have you guys ever been gifted a membership more than once in a month span? Joe, are you gonna play X Defiant when it releases? No, what's that? X Defiant. Oh, I think I did see this advertised. But I don't think so. I don't really know what it is or anything about it. It's just like a battle royale game. Okay, you've never been gifted. Okay, because sometimes I see people get gifted often, and I'm like, has it really been a whole month? Wart. I still get sad when I think about Halo, and just how, the Halo video game probably won't ever be as popular as it used to be. It's like Outriders mixed with Sword Art Online. So it's like third person, or... Because wasn't Outriders kind of like a Dark Souls / Zelda game? You played the beta? Now I kind of want to just look at gameplay real quick, just to take a peek. X Defiant gameplay. I love YouTubers' thumbnails, like this guy. He's looking at the gun and he's just like, oh, whoa, with a big red arrow. Okay, so it's a first-person shooter. Sorry. Just want to see. So it's capturing points a little bit like Battlefield, I guess. Okay, so it's just a first-person shooter. I mean, I'll have to see more of it before I can kind of get a vibe. But I don't want to waste your time. Are you playing the Resident Evil 4 DLC? You know, somebody mentioned it last time, but I have not, no. Background noise is great. Reminds me of camping on the moors next to the stream. Nice, nice. I'm glad we got a good vibe going. All it's missing is the Scream Rant logo, yeah. Finally caught your live streams, enjoy your narrations. Not gonna lie, I enjoy the Ray content when some slip-ups. Oh, nice. Oh, the rare content. Overall, this is my daily decompression time for me. Nice, thanks, Brian. Well, you'll get to hear lots of flub-ups here. Don't you worry. This is where they all come from, honestly. With me as one of the judges, I'm able to provide a more youthful eye, which is needed a lot of the time because some of the costumes are from pop culture and the older crowd has no idea where it's from. This year's Halloween costume party almost didn't happen, though. The incident last year almost ruined it for everyone, and for me personally, I almost lost a... Do reading stories mess with your mental health? Not really. Not really. I don't know. I guess I've just read so many, I just feel nothing. Some of the true crime ones, I guess, are really sad, but at the same time, I guess those are just a manifestation of, like, if the Let's Not Meet stories ever led to something really bad, they would become a true crime. It's like the evolution in, like, Pokemon, where a normal Let's Not Meet style story is Charmander and a true crime is like a Charizard mega evolution. What's the angriest or most frustrated you've ever been on stream? I don't remember. I do get mad sometimes about stupid shit, but then I try to keep it in. I mean, there's really not much you guys can do to, like, upset me too much unless it's, like, really not cool, man. Do you ever read and not even pay attention to the story? Oh, yeah, all the time. I'll, like, get done with a story and, like, ask people, like, I read that, but I don't remember what happened at all. Like, I just zoned out. Oh, yeah, when someone asks me why I work out if you're going to die or something. Yeah, that was a really weird question. It was like, why would you bother working out if you're gonna just die one day? And I was like, well, why do you go to your job, you know, if you're gonna die one day, you know? You do it so you have a better life than what it would be like to be homeless, you know, and you work out so you have a better life than you did if you were gonna be, like, out of shape and, you know, lack confidence or whatever it is that working out does for you, you know? You downloaded God of War, but I'm bored in between. Oh, okay. The new God of War? Or... Because I know, yeah, they're on PC now. Have you never heard of... Wait. Have you never heard Joel have a good... Oh, sorry. I was reading that. It disappeared. Yeah, why eat food if you're going to die one? Yeah, exactly. Like, it all is just basically varying levels of the same question. But I think that just comes from someone who just never really worked out, you know? Or maybe holds some sort of resentment towards individuals that do lift weights or exercise or something. Well, I don't really know what the thought process would be there. Maybe they were young and just don't really understand the concept yet, but once you experience it, it becomes a very addictive feeling that you need to continue to manifest in your life over and over again. With me is what... Oh, I already read that part. This year's Halloween costume party almost didn't happen, though. The incident last year almost ruined it for everyone, and for me personally, I almost lost a lot more than a Halloween party. Last year's event started just like every other year. The company gives everyone the day off on the last Friday before Halloween. If Halloween falls on a Friday, they'll still do it the Friday before, so parents can take their children trick-or-treating on the actual day. Instead of working on Friday, we all gathered that night at 7 p.m. The party formally goes until 11 p.m., but usually everyone stays much longer. For the first few hours, people were eating, drinking, mingling, and submitting their names for the costume contest. Of course, you don't have to participate, but most people do so they can have a chance to win that prize. Around 9 in the evening, we gathered everyone in the main lobby. It's a huge lobby that's comfortably fit. Around 9 in the evening, we gathered everyone in the main lobby. It's a huge lobby that comfortably fits everyone. Whoever is hosting the event will start calling each person. Me, Regal. See, those kind of comments. Those kind of comments are frustrating to me. People who tell me just to read and shut up and stuff. I mean, it's disrespectful and rude. And pretty stupid. You know what I mean? Like, if you, like, that's, like, I tell it to everyone who gets upset that I'm not, like, reading like a monkey for them. Like, bro, just, if you want to just listen to a disembodied voice read you stories, go to a video. Just go to a video and fall asleep or whatever you want to go do, you know? Just so fucking, like, lack any sort of logic there. Anyways, Rain. Sophia with a 2 says, what gore video messed you up back in the day? Yeah, there was always one in 9th grade. My friend, I had not really seen that much stuff, but somebody showed me one where a guy was getting decapitated by some, terrorist group out in the Middle East somewhere, I don't even know, but the guy was in those typical situation where they have like the thing over their head and they're sitting on their knees with their arms behind their back, and they were pretty quiet, kind of like the lambs to the slaughter type scenario. And then they just walk up to the guy and like stick the knife into like the middle of their neck and then like sawed forward. But like as soon as they did it, they just started like screaming like mad and making all these like disgusting noises. And I think that just like is the part that fucked me up the most, was hearing the screams of someone dying. Around 9 in the evening, we gathered everyone in the main lobby. It's a huge lobby that comfortably fits everyone. Whoever is hosting the event will start calling each person up one by one to show off the costumes. Some people will come up solo, some doubles, and even some groups came up to present. I saw some awesome costumes. After everyone presented, we said that we would announce the winner at 10 p.m. In the meantime, everyone was just hanging out and enjoying the company party. At about 9:45, I realized that I had left my laptop in the office. Instead of leaving my laptop at the office all weekend, I figured that I would just run upstairs quickly and grab it. Admittedly, I was being one of those people walking with my head in my phone while I was walking up the stairs, and since I had a few free minutes from the party. Honestly, like the side shit that I talk about, it like helps my mind, because you know what I mean? Like, I have over 1,000 videos just reading scary stories all the time. A lot of them they all are very similar, And so whenever you guys ask me stuff that takes me on side tangents, like, I prefer that. In fact, I like encourage you guys to distract me as much as you can. I mean, you don't have to be crazy, but just get me to go on a side tangent because it's just fun for me. It's like therapeutic to sit there and talk about shit and discuss things and, I don't know, just let words out of my mouth. Admittedly, I was being one of those people walking with my head down in my phone while I was walking upstairs. Since I had a few free minutes from the party, I wanted to get caught up with my social media, my group text messages, and my fantasy football. In other words, I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. I opened the door to the office and didn't even compute to me that the door was unlocked. I was even holding the key in my hand while I was texting. I just opened the door on autopilot. My desk cubicle was on the far left side of the office. I didn't turn any of the lights on and just made my way down the row of desks on my left. When I got to my desk, I sat down in my chair and finished my last text. After sending the messages, I came back to my senses. I looked around my desk and I was at a loss for words. My computer, which was right there on top of my desk on Thursday night when I left, wasn't there. I looked around trying to think to myself if I had brought it into the car. The more I thought about it, the more confident I became that I certainly left it right on my desk. That I certainly left it. Faces of Death was crazy. Saw that when I was a little kid. Yeah, Faces of Death was tough too. Yeah, that one dude, Bud, what was his name? Bud something or whatever. When he didn't he like shot himself in, like he pulled out the gun, shot himself in the mouth. And then, well, the part was just so disturbing to me as a kid, seeing that was like the fact that he just went limp. And then all of that blood just started pouring out of his nose. Like it was gushing out of his nose. And it was like hot. I feel like there was like steam too. Maybe not, but maybe I'm just imagining that. But it was just so disgusting, like how quick it was. And just like how, just, you know, you play a video game, you shoot somebody in the head in a video game, which back then was like 90s video games. Yeah, Bud Dwyer, 90s or 2000 games. So it's like, was never like super crazy detailed. But like something that gruesome was just, it stuck with me. And I feel like I heard that the Bud Dwyer situation was that he got like accused of something, but he ended up being innocent later on. But it was like his reputation was just completely destroyed, and I think he was going to jail for it. So he was just like, fuck this shit. Oh, it was Gunsmoke. Okay, that makes sense. Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat. I guess that was pretty gory. Yeah, but Mortal Kombat like just doesn't have the same feeling as like some dude in a press conference, you know, blowing his head off. Well, shooting himself in the mouth. You ran a video store in the 90s and those movies got stolen so much I ended up watching them and never again. Interesting. I didn't even know I didn't know those were just kind of widely available at video stores. Remember the disturbing crap on E-Bombs World? I do remember checking E-Bombs World religiously, and I always thought it was videos that were like comedically oriented videos. I'm sharding in the hot tub. Yeah, the hot tub is going to be full of diarrhea soon. There's an old DUI montage for a traffic school. They showed it was all fake, but very graphic. Yeah, there's a lot of... I know what's his name, what is it? Blame It on George, Blame It on Jorge. He always does those... lost media videos. And I was always curious if he ever did those, like, lost media videos related to, like, safety videos. Because some of them are, like, you ever see those, like, compilations of safety videos where I don't know, people are getting like it. Remember, it was like some guy drove a forklift through a wall and it went through the drywall, and like somebody was in a break room and got impaled in the break room or something. I don't know. There was so many fucked up ones. They were kind of funny looking back, but what's up, Robin? Max Payne with their exit wounds was pretty sick. Yeah, Max Payne 3 had some pretty gruesome kills. And I would say Red Dead 2, like, up that a notch for sure. The more I thought about it, the more confident I became that I certainly left it. I think I was certain, right? The more I thought about it, the more confident I became that I was certain I left it right on my desk. While I was trying to solve this mystery, I heard a voice come up from the other side of the office. It was a deep and bellowing voice, and it said, "Okay, hurry up." I ducked down in my cubicle and peeked around the wall. I saw 3 dudes wearing masks. These really weird, generic bunny masks, nothing unique about them. I watched them for a minute or two trying to figure out what they were doing. I didn't recognize the voices, so right away I clearly knew that they didn't work in any specific office. I started to focus on what they were doing. They each were carrying 2 bags, and I saw one of the masked men grab something off one of the desks and throw it in the bag. And that's when I realized what was happening. I dropped down fast, trying not to bring attention to myself, and I accidentally bumped my chair. My heart was about to burst through my chest because I knew it made a noise, and I heard that same deep voice say again, "What was that? I heard something down there." I didn't know. Oh shit! Holy shizzer bizzers, who was that? Jacob Bowling with a big 30 buccarinos. Says, "I think this month's bonus content should be this reading screen because this reading screen is badass. I would like for Joel to read some trick-or-treating horror stories. Just think about Joel. You are the man and you rock." Thanks, Jacob, and thank you so much for the 30 buccos. Thank you, thank you. And Ellie, welcome back for half a year, says, "Joel, if you had the chance to learn the absolute truth about one thing in this entire universe, what would you want to know?" Happy October, y'all. I guess just like what happens after we die, probably, you know, and I guess in that specific scenario, like, is there some sort of religious concept that's the true, you know, the big true, or is it more about like your vibration? Like if you have a good vibration and you try your best and you're just a good soul who is oriented towards good things and helping others, that, and has, you know, and basically if you have like an overall good vibration, do you go to the good place? And if you have like just a negative, vengeful, hateful vibration, do you end up in the negative, you know, the bad vibration place, or, you know, just something weird like that? It'd just be nice to know, so that you just, but I guess if you did know, you probably wouldn't live your life the same way, right? You know. Rain Sophia Lewis with the 2 says, "Joe, I forgot to ask, do you have merch?" I actually do, and it should be linked in every video. But also, I believe YouTube actually recently let me, it actually can show your merch on the YouTube channel itself. I don't know if you guys have been able to see it, or if it pops up at the underneath videos from time to time. But yeah, you can get some there. I guess you just go back to not existing, if that makes sense. I think religion is a man-made concept fabricated by our primal instincts to find logical explanation everything. Well, that's true too. That could be a possibility, which, yeah, you become a vibrator, a good vibrator. Yeah, I think that's a definitive possibility. It's a little sad, you know. There's a lot of things in life that I see and I'm just like, fuck, man. I don't know, it's just weird. All of it's just weird. It's just weird to think sometimes when you think about like defense contractors and just their entire purpose and their relationship with the American people is to like constantly convince them that there needs to be conflict that they need to protect people from, but in reality it's just draining them of like future dollars so that they can go, they're incentivized to just create weaponry and defense systems to just go hurt other people, either in the name of securing a location or changing regimes or installing various institutions or securing resources, and or just literally just kind of keeping conflict going for the sake of profit. I think that's the weirdest thing to me, because I can't imagine, like, if you were in those higher positions of a defense contractor or something of that nature, that you would ever be able to like live with yourself if you knew the manifestation of what you wrought upon the existence of Earth. Just strange, weird. There's just all the because then it's just like, then it comes down to the motivation of greed within humans, where we are constantly just trying to accrue more and more resources for ourselves and for our future family, generational wealth that may or may not have been earned through blood. And that's really weird to me, especially if it has no meaning at all. If you just go and you die and there's no existence afterwards, it's like, I can only imagine if that's the perspective of those people in positions of power, then they just have no sense of poetry or reality. It's just, at the end of the day, it's to them, they might be motivated by fear in a lot of ways to just continue constantly growing, because if they let it slip, that could be the end of them, I suppose. Jacob with the 10 says, my super chat got a heart from Let's Read. That's an honor for me. So to Joel, thank you for letting me be your friend, and thank you for all of this. Your stream kicks ass, and I'll always respect you. Oh, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you. And BB Jean, welcome back for 4 months. Says, I know I lurk, but it's because I type super slow, but I love my master sock and peeps. Y'all are awesome. Thank you, BB Jean. And welcome back for 4 months. You don't care about having a bunch of money. Yeah, some people don't. Some people are born into it. Some people kind of perpetuate that system. Some people don't think that and some people, the weirdest thing is sometimes it's like some people's jobs specifically just to think like it's their job, or they don't even make that much money, but it's like their job to constantly think about ways to expand profits for the company as a whole. So and you kind of have to like set your morals aside for that, or you have to set your soul aside for those kind of perspectives. I don't know. There's a lot of weird human experiences out there. You could be born completely just, I don't know, just not in a good spot. You could be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You could be born and die. I guess every day you just kind of have to be thankful for the fact that you get another day, because there's really nothing guaranteed tomorrow at all. I didn't know what to do. I thought about running. I thought about screaming. I thought about calling the police. At the end of the day, though, I just stood as still as a statue. I could hear them creeping up closer to my cubicle. I didn't know if these guys had weapons or what, and I didn't want to find out either. When I heard the guy right near my cube, I started to crawl on the back. When I heard the guy right near my cube, I started to crawl around the backside. This way, if the other two were by the door, they wouldn't see me. The man shouted to the other guys and said something like, I don't know what the noise was, let's just leave. And then I heard the comforting steps of them walking away. When he shouted that to the other guys, the voice sounded like it was right on top of my head. If he had walked only another few inches, he would have seen me for sure. When I heard the office door close, I called the police right away, told them what happened. They showed up fast, but those masked men were already gone. They checked the cameras, but couldn't get enough information to actually hone in on them. They had them briefly on camera a few times, but they didn't see what vehicle they got into, and due to the costumes that they were wearing, they were covered from head to toe, so there were no specific details that could be seen. They robbed my computer as well as a bunch of others from the office. They didn't rob any other office in the building, literally specifically only mine, and that led the cops to believe that whoever robbed us had some relation with someone who works in my office. And now, nearly a year later, they never found them. I never got that laptop back either, and this experience was truly traumatic for me. I felt like I was playing a real-life game of cat and mouse, and like I said, this year's party almost didn't happen. The only difference this year is that the party will be at a specific location, and I hope above all else, I don't see those bunny masks. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, there's more thing. I have a lot of respect for you, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to get to know you. Joel, take care, my brother. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate you. I saw a video of some 90-year-old living in care in Afghanistan, and they seemed happy and healthy. I feel abundant as ever. Living in a cave in Afghanistan. That's crazy. Did you ever hear about like those like paranormal stories of like giants living in caves in the Afghanistan mountains, or like military people coming across just like giant men in Afghanistan? Obviously it's probably fake, but it just sounds really cool. It's become sort of a like 4chan creepypasta thing. Your dad said to me, when you die, there is nothing for eternity, just black sleep death. I started having panic attack that freaked me out when I was 19 years old. Yeah, I don't really understand why parents kind of go out of the... Like, I understand, like, from the perspective of, like, a religious perspective, that the religious parent might feel obligated to tell their kid how reality works or something, even if they don't really know, maybe just to make them feel better or make themselves feel better. But it always just seems weird to me whenever like somebody has a very nihilistic perspective towards the end of life, and they tell their child, even if you are 19, like a grown adult, and maybe it was like an argument situation or like a debate, to kind of bring that lack of hopelessness onto other people. I don't think that's very conducive to really any good, even if it is what you truly believe, because what's the end goal? It's not like you're going to make anybody feel better. All you're really doing is bringing people down to your frustration or your sense of apathy or your sense of, like, essentially nothingness. Like, what do you want them to envision in their mind? Like, an endless black void of just no consciousness at all, which is maybe better than, like, hell, I suppose. I don't know. Or maybe it's the same fucking thing. I have no idea. Who knows? I have always loved Halloween. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I have loved the holiday. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to call Halloween a holiday, but I am. After last year, though, I'm not sure if I'll ever feel that same love and admiration for it, though. Last year, I moved to this new town in the summer. Unfortunately, it wasn't close to my hometown, and in fact, it's nearly on the other side of the country. We live in a time, though, where I have to go where the money is, at least while I'm relatively young. And as fall was approaching, I realized that Halloween was right around the corner, and this was about to be the first year that I didn't have anybody to celebrate with. Now, when I was younger, I used to watch horror movies all month long with my grandma. When I got older, my buddy and I, Jason and I would watch scary movies every night and just hang out outside. Now, Jason was a smoker, so we used that as an excuse to be outside, and we'd sit around the bonfire all night just soaking up that crisp fall air. Needless to say, last year was the first Halloween that I had nobody to share my time with. I'm not great at meeting people and making friends. Sure, I had my work friends, but they weren't really the sort of hangout outside of work friends, you know? And somehow at work one day, the topic of Halloween came up in conversation. My ears perked up because Halloween is like a drug to me. And the guy that I worked with, I'll just call him Russell, started talking about a Halloween party. Some of the details I couldn't really hear because he wasn't exactly right next to me, but I know I heard the phrase Halloween party. Now I approached Russell and asked about the party, and he looked at me and smiled, and so did several of my other coworkers. Russell put his hand on my shoulder, smiled, and said, "I don't know if it's really your thing." I got excited and I started talking about how I love Halloween and being outside at night during the fall and all that good stuff. My coworkers were looking at me sort of funny, but Russell was just nodding and smiling. He started to tell me about the party this weekend and asked if I could join. So, I was excited, as anyone would be, but I tried to keep my emotions in check in front of all my new peers. I didn't want them to think that I was lame or something like that. Russell asked if I could drive because the driver wasn't able to go anymore. It was really way... Jacob with the 5 says, "Death is real simple. People and animals are born, they live, and they die. So there's no stopping death, for it's inevitable, for all things must die." That's true. But what about after, Jacob? What happens after? As Joel talked about how long it takes to edit the lives and upload them to be videos, it doesn't take too terribly long. Like after we're done with this, I can probably bang out the editing, and depending on how many mistakes I made, I could probably bang out the editing in like less than an hour. It's just the uploading part's been really iffy lately. I have to put my videos through like a program called Handbrake now to like compress it and like optimize it for YouTube, because anytime I render a video at like 1080p, YouTube has been having really strange issues with processing, and then whenever it goes live, like there's been times like twice in the past 2 weeks where people say that it doesn't load for them or they can't hear anything, and it makes me upset because, the first couple hours of release are like it literally is the most important part of a YouTube video. It's kind of strange to think when you contemplate it, but that first hour that's released of a YouTube video will determine the trajectory of views and new subscribers that you get for the remainder of the video. It's so weird. It's as if though it just creates like this cascade effect of like, oh, a lot of people like this topic or they like this video. We're going to show it to random new people and you get new subscribers that way. And then we're going to show it to more new people. And it just kind of like keeps snowballing. I mean, eventually it stops, but because I've never really had a video continue snowballing to the extent that if it does snowball down the road, it's usually like suddenly gets a sudden burst of viewership out of nowhere. And I don't really know how that works. Used to use Handbrake when I did transcribing. Oh, okay. Would you put videos through it? Oh, yeah, I guess it does. It do transcriptions? Nice thing is YouTube now has transcriptions on the side of videos that you can like take and copy paste, and you can even put it through ChatGPT to like fix it into like actual usable grammar. The cognitive dissonance that it takes for some to say that the autumnal equinox is evil while winter solstice is the birth of Christ is baffling to me. I guess that's a good point. Am I saying that right? The autumnal? I guess a lot of people aren't familiar. Well, I mean, obviously it comes down to the meaning that it holds for the individual and what they're celebrating. But for them to be familiar with like a pagan holiday or whatever it might be, it's kind of expecting a lot from people that aren't familiar with it. Time is actually made up of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey material. Exactly. That's what the quantum physicists don't want you to know about. I'm glad you had a good early life. I actually am really fortunate to have had a good early life. You know, my autumnal. That sounds so weird. Autumnal equinox. I'd watch the videos in Handbrake and type the transcript in real time, way faster and easier. Interesting. Wonder if you could just upload the video to YouTube and have it transcribed for you there. Also, I think there's other programs that do transcriptions, but oh, it's a Doctor Who quote. Nice. Russell asked if I could drive because the driver wasn't able to go anymore. That was a really weird way of wording, but I didn't give it a second. Why is that sentence so strange? That was a really way of wording it, but I didn't give it a second thought. Even if they were just using me for a ride, which I thought about after the fact, I was still pumped to get out of the house and actually do something for the Halloween season. I agreed, and Russell told me to pick them up for the work part. I agreed, and Russell told me to pick them up from the work parking lot at about 10 p.m. Friday night. That was late for me, but I wanted to prove that, I could hang with the guys. Friday night came, and I pulled into the lot a little after 10. Russell and 3 other coworkers were already standing there waiting to be picked up. They were wearing these strange orange masks, and Russell had a bag with him, like a sort of gym bag of some kind. They all got into my SUV, and Russell started to guide me like he was this. They all got into my SUV, and Russell started to guide me. While I was driving, Russell said something like, "Oh, I forgot, take this. We need to make sure that you're covering your face, too." I just took the mask and put it on top of my head, sort of like a hat for the time. It was probably too late at this point, but this is when I finally started to feel extremely weird about all of this. Number one, why the heck did I have to drive? If it was to be a designated driver, that's fine, but it was never really mentioned. And number two, why was I picking up? Only 30 days until Halloween. Oh, only 365 more days. It was funny though. I feel like Halloween last year was really hyped up. And I don't know how you guys feel this year, but do you feel like Halloween is like hyped up this year as much as it was last year? I feel like it's not quite as much, but I mean, it will definitely hit. But I feel like when we got to September last year, people were like, let's fucking go Halloween. Maybe it's because we missed out from so many Halloween bullshit with COVID. Hey Joe, you nervous about some super advanced AI replacing you, given how much your voice in these streams are out there? This is good data someone could use, no? For that exact purpose. That's true. That is true. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I would do to stop it, to be honest with you. I guess you just gotta adapt and survive somehow. Maybe you guys can think. Maybe we can use this as a brainstorming session with all 500 of you to think of ways that I can combat the AI takeover, which is inevitable. It feels like it'll be a very 8 out of 10 Halloween. Well, that's not too bad. That's a pretty above average Halloween. Can you copyright your own voice? I don't think so. Somebody mentioned that, like, Mr. Creepypasta tried to do something like that and then found out legally you couldn't really do it, so... Five Nights at Freddy's? I don't know. And number two, why was I picking them up from work? Sure, it could be for convenience's sake, but... Conveniences. Sure, it could be for convenience sake, but then that brings me to number three. Why the heck were they wearing these masks, and why did I need one? I could feel my heart beating really fast. You know when you can just feel something is wrong, when you're just kind of locked into a situation. It's exactly how I felt. I sort of got quiet, and Russell noticed, and he started to push me a little bit and said things like, "You good, dude? You're looking out of it right now. You having second thoughts?" I didn't really respond. I gave him a generic answer. I don't understand. If he was going to a Halloween party, should he not have expected that you were supposed to dress up, and why didn't he dress up beforehand? Like, I don't get that. It's basically against human rights, basically saying you don't own your voice. Well, human rights only really apply when you can translate them to paper on, like to become legal things. So, like, you have to figure out how you can turn those concepts into actual laws. But I don't know. I guess I would just have to do more research on how you can copyright your voice. Just merge with the AI. Don't fight. All right, maybe that would be a good. What's that called? The ultimatum? No, what's that called? When like the robot and machine and humans. It's called like something in sci-fi. I forget what that is. I gave him a generic answer and just kind of smiled. After about 15 minutes of driving, we pulled into some warehouse parking lot. Russell leaned over to me and said, "Put your mask on, brother. It's time to party." I got out of the car with my new friends and made my way through the dark parking lot to the sealed door. I knew that there was no party on the other side of the door, but deep down I was hoping to see a raging party when they opened it. And that dream vanished right away when, instead of opening the door, Russell started to pick the lock. I stood there, basically shivering in my boots. I had a million thoughts rushing through my head at once. Like, should I run? Should I call the police? Should I just partake in this obvious crime that was about to happen? And what I did instead of any of those ideas, Singularity, yeah, that's the word. Whenever AI, or I forget what it is, when like robots and humans combined into one thing. At least the Writers Guild was fixed for now. The chaos that would arise if ChatGPT wrote movies would be insane. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they'll like probably still. I'm sure like writers will probably still use fucking AI to write movies, and I don't know. The bad thing with the writer stuff is that like for a lot of Hollywood recently, I just don't think it's been very good. And obviously the numbers from how Hollywood has been performing has been an indication of that. People are just not as interested in the product as they used to be. They'd much rather go listen to Let's Read. What I did instead of any of those ideas was just stand there, like a deer in headlights. Thankfully, I had a mask on because I'm pretty sure that I was crying tears underneath it. And a minute later, Russell picked this lock and we started to walk into the factory. He made some comments like, "Come on, boys," or something like that as we were filing inside the building. Now, I think this is... What the fuck? Aren't they coworkers? He's just like taking his new coworker. What does he do for work? Did I miss that part? No, I think this is what they call dumb luck, but not 10 steps into the building, we heard someone scream, "Hey, you guys there, stop." I looked up and I saw 2 armed security guards running in our direction. I complied and froze, and I put my hands up immediately, and that apparently was the wrong plan. Somebody grabbed me by the arm and told me to run, which I stupidly followed. We ran to the car, driving off. Russell told me to take us all back to his house for the night, which, again, I did without question, and I was terrified all night. I couldn't stop thinking about the cops showing up. It was my vehicle, so if anybody was getting caught, it would have been me. and I lost sleep for days and even weeks thinking about that night. Thank God I was never caught somehow, and I always considered turning them in, but I couldn't help but feel that I would get in trouble as well because at the end of the day, I was an accomplice. Now I'm sure one day I'll be served a dish of fresh karma. We never really spoke about that night again. Russell stopped working there only a few months later, and I found out from one of my coworkers that Russell used to use the code name. I was gurking spooked. I was gurking spooked. Joe, can you put some kind of audio stamp in your work to prevent AI using it? Oh, that's interesting. Like it's at like a different frequency or something, so that when it... Well, I have no idea what I was just trying to say there, but I kind of get your vibe for sure. Intellectual property infringement. I guess that's true too. But man, the thing about lawsuits is that they're just so lengthy, and they're so convoluted, they're so expensive, and you have to find a lawyer that's like even knows what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to intellectual property stuff. More specifically, like, I guess at the end of the day, if there would end up being like a YouTube channel that makes money off of like taking my content, the animation channels. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is kind of weird sometimes, but I guess it does help kind of bring in subscribers too. But if it was like a whole ass channel that was pretending to be me, I mean, I'm sure I could report it to my YouTube partnership people and see what could be done. It's okay though. I like that we're catastrophizing already. It's good. We can plan ahead. And I found out from one of my coworkers that Russell used some code word. What is this saying? Code word blank. And I found out from one of my coworkers that Russell actually used some code name blank holiday party whenever he actually wanted to rob something. For example, this was a Halloween party. The warehouse was some sort of furniture warehouse that he used to work at, and he wanted to rob the safe that he knew was there. He was an amateur criminal for sure, and he tried to bring me and several coworkers down with him. The other coworkers successfully robbed a few places with Russell before that night, but after almost getting caught, they just never did it again. Another reason why I never turned them in. Wait, that was like a full sentence. Another reason why I never turned them in. Listen, I know. You just assume I collaborated on the animated ones? Well, I don't know. There were some that I gave permission to, but I feel like that started a degree of cascade effect where like other animation channels saw them using my narrations, and then they just kind of communicate with one another, or just sort of take the chance of like, oh, if they use it, I can use it, and fuck them, you know. But the only problem I have with a lot of the animation channels is that they are dog shit. They are fucking dog shit animations, dude. Like, all of them are from like the same program, not even like hand drawn. They're like, it's as if though it was made by AI, you know. NFL is cheating for Mahomes. Are they? Why do they like Mahomes so much? If it was like really good animation, like, you know, at least on like half the quality of like Meat Canyon or some shit, or, you know, just in that realm of, you know, you're trying your best. But it just seems, yeah, it's just mass-produced garbage that they put out, and then they just like use other people's shit to. But, you know, I'm one to complain because I use other people's stories for my content. So but at the same time, I still feel like, you know. Robin says, "You guys see my animation I sent you?" Oh shit! Okay, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I recorded some 2-sentence horror stories for Robin. I think he's going to put them up on his Tiki-Talkies. Jacob with a 5 says, "I don't know what happens after death, Joel. To be honest with you, death is one complicated topic. I guess we will find what happens when we die." It's true. What else can you say? But thank you for the 5, Jacob. I know Mr. Nightmare gets copied on TikTok. Have you been copied on TikTok as well? I know they are pretty bad. I don't watch them. I just listen once in a while. Oh my god, me can't. Yeah. I do have, now 2 TikToks. I have somebody actually running a separate TikTok to, try to get some clips out there. It's called Let's Read Clips. Let's.read.clips. The other coworkers successfully robbed a few places with Russell before that night, but after almost getting caught, they never did it again. Another reason why I never turned them in. Now listen, I know I'm partially to blame here, and I could have done a million things differently, but I didn't. The story's been killing me for the last year, so I wanted to share it and just get it off my chest anonymously. I still work at that place and live in that town. I have a few friends now, but this year, and most likely forever, I'm staying away from Halloween parties. You love my voice acting? Thanks. I feel like I don't really get to do a lot of really solid attempts at voice acting within these videos, but I guess it's not really set up that way with the dialogue. Joel, is Chiller doing well? What's Chiller? Like Chilling, the app? I think it's doing alright. The modern landscape of UTN animation is atrocious. There's no passion, art, or storytelling. Nobody cares. It's just mass-produced trash that's been exploited to maximize profit companies' advantage. Yeah, and you kind of understand why, because it makes money. There was a JRE episode where Joe Rogan theorized about how dying would be like tripping on DMT. Yeah, I've heard that, where your body releases... he had a whole documentary about DMT releasing upon death and things like that. Once again, it's hard to say. And Joe Rogan is pretty pessimistic because he has a pretty deep-seated hatred for any sort of religious concepts, or at least a pretty strong apprehension towards it. Jacob with the 5 says, Joe, I'm going to call it a night. Have a busy day tomorrow. I'm taking my son Brandon to Dairy Queen to get him an Oreo Blizzard. Take care, Joe. Nice. Jacob, thank you so much for the 5, and enjoy your blizzards. Enjoy your blizzards. Something going on driving your cats crazy. Have you farted recently and the fart has catnip in it? Perhaps aerosolized. Dazoomies. How do those ads get put into your podcast compilation? Not the ads with your voice, but the damn Chumpa Casino ones? On the podcast side of things? I don't know, I distribute through a company that, and then they just run ads wherever they want. I think it's kind of like how YouTube, whenever you set an ad, and YouTube can just sort of do targeted advertising or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? Where it can just find the best audience, or the best ads to give you. It's just kind of random. Let's not eat, just posted. Nice. Aerosolized farts. Though if there is one thing that Joe Rogan does right, is accepting well-documented scientific information. In the video where sharks were older than trees, people kept saying it was fake news. Yeah, I wonder how they would determine how old sharks are, or as a species. You too scared to try DMT? I don't think I'm chemically balanced. Yeah, I don't really think it's necessary to go visit the tree gnomes of the great beyond. I'm sure it's fun for Joe Rogan, but not all of us really have that free time on a Tuesday to jump into our, noise isolation chamber and trip. Do you have backup episodes? If so, how many hours? What do you mean backup episodes? Gotcha. They are random, but at least placed between stories, so it's okay. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't really know how they choose what ads go on what. I feel like casino ads would be so weird to hear. You die, you leave, but you return as a ghost. Occasionally watch over loved ones or behave malevolently towards people who move into your house after you pass. Right? Yeah. That's what they say in the movies. Being a ghost would be so annoying, though. Just like angry about nothing. Stay away from my toaster. From my air fryer. To put it simply, we used radiometric dating to date the volcanic rocks the fossils are found in. It's extremely accurate. The earliest known life form lived 4 billion years ago. Am I a believer in the paranormal? I think so. And I also believe that, like, it's possible that, like, things like that, like radiometric dating, the Earth being 4 billion years, and the paranormal all kind of existing within the same pantheon, even though that's not the right word, but, you know, the same sort of Earth lore. That's kind of what history is. It's just Earth lore. But I kind of almost feel like as if the paranormal stuff might be a lot more biological than we realize. I remember playing that game, Rain World, where you get to play as a slug cat. And I love their kind of like representation of reincarnation and spiritual death in that game, and like how the overarching story within the game is like the highest intelligent life on the planet was attempting to figure out how to escape the never-ending process of reincarnation and death, because the planet is essentially like a closed system, and that the spirit is just kind of part of that biological process of recycling that energy to a new life form, and just kind of doing that over and over and over again. And so they use like, I think they use like a huge amount of pressure from like these endlessly raining clouds to create the energy necessary to do what they wanted to do, but it ended up like trapping some of their spirits in some sort of like in-between world of like not quite life but not quite death. And I don't know, it was a really fascinating thing to think that like even whenever you're fucking with like the spiritual world, there might be a chance that like there's no God that's going to come out of nowhere and be like, oh, that's not where you're supposed to go. You know, or like, oh, you're not supposed to be there. Here, let me fix that real quick. You know, you can agree with the closed loop theory. I mean, it would be fascinating, you know, if you look at Earth as some sort of larger organism, perhaps spirits that abide within our body and other creatures' bodies just get thrown around everywhere, but it's just visually not apparent to us. Speaking of which, have you heard that they mounted an expedition to explore some of the Saturn moons, which have the building blocks for life? Subnautica, here we come. That'd be fun. Expedition. Are they just going to send like satellites or probes or something to land there? I think the idea of like landing on other places' moons are just so fascinating to me, because I remember, well, what's the more recent Dead Space sort of like spiritual successor that they made? Wasn't their prison present on like another moon of, I don't know if it was Saturn or what planet it was, Jupiter or some shit. But I was just imagine like that, like you all of a sudden you get taken on a ship or you get teleported somewhere and you find that you're stuck on a fucking prison on a moon in the middle of the solar system somewhere, and you'll never get back to Earth, and no one even knows that where you are even exists. I guess that would be no different than being stuck in like Guantanamo Bay, but I feel like it'll be a lot more sci-fi though, and cool. You hate the Reddit stories that start with "I don't believe in God" or the afterlife and then tell the most detailed ghost story. Yeah. I don't know why people feel so obsessed to like always include that, like their very specific biases in stories, as if though it like is impressive to the amazing atheist or something. Like, no one gives a shit if you believe in God or don't believe in God anymore or believe in whatever. Just don't be rude about it to anybody. We're all just trying to have our human experience here, you know. Every year around this time, I am reminded of the most horrifying event of my life. When I was around 17 or 18 years old, I was hanging out with my group of friends who, looking back, were a pretty negative influence. I had gone from a small circle of friends to a larger group of friends who were more in the popular crowd and were experimenting with drinking and smoking. My parents were always very strict, so I had to be super careful when it came to making plans. Most of the time, I would have to sneak out of the house after they went to sleep. Now, getting back to the story, I was currently grounded for I think maybe 3 months for being caught drinking by my parents before. I remember them being really upset with me and disappointed with how I'd been acting during that time in my life. I got grounded a few more weeks before Halloween, and my friends were having a huge party. They were all trying to talk me into sneaking out and attending. I remember feeling like there was no way that I could miss this party, and I would regret it forever if I did. Isn't it funny what we think are priorities when we're young? I planned to sneak out and walk to the party, as it was only a few blocks from my home. I wasn't going to dress up in case I needed to make a quick return home and pretend that I had been in bed the entire time. The night came, and I was feeling guilty, or maybe I was getting cold feet about going. I knew my parents would probably ground me for a year if they caught me, and I was actually getting along really well with them lately, and I didn't want to change that. After toying with the idea of not going, I changed my mind after dozens of texts from my friends telling me what I was missing at the party. I snuck out of my window quietly and made my way to the party, and as I approached it, I could tell that it was super loud, so I figured it was only going to be a matter of time before the cops came and they broke it up. My parents were all excited when I showed... Wait, not my parents, my friends. Jesus. His parents were there at the party. Yo, where you been, you fucking loser? Get in here. Family shots. My friends were all excited when I showed up and started handing me drinks so I could catch up. I drank a little bit and then found myself having to go to the bathroom. Most of the party was taking place in the kitchen and out on a screened-in back porch. The bathroom was the closest. The bathroom that was closest was in the basement. My friend told me it was down the stairs and directly to the left. There was no one down there when I went down, so I quickly used the bathroom so I could head back up the stairs to the group. When I got out of the bathroom, there was someone waiting outside the door, and I sort of said to them, "Oh, sorry, all set." And when I moved to get out of the way, they moved in my direction. This happened once or twice, and I kind of anxiously chuckled and then just sort of bolted for the stairs. I asked my friend Mariah if she knew who this person in the black robe and white mask was, who was seemingly dressed up. She said she didn't, and I told her about us either blocking each other's path accidentally or him doing it on purpose, but they clearly were being pretty creepy about it. She laughed and said that they probably like me. The mask wasn't like anything I'd seen before. It was sort of like a Michael Myers mask, but with no hair, and it had been painted with X's over the eyes and also in the mouth. Now, for the remainder of the night, I kept noticing the person in this mask. Whenever I went, it didn't seem like they were... Oh, wherever I went. All night hated. I just want some sort of hard data. I try to have faith in my wife and kids, but struggle every day to truly believe. Yeah, it makes sense, you know, everything. You gotta have faith in something, you know, whether it's yourself or your family. But I think the thing is like, if you want to have faith in others, you basically just have to be the person that people can have faith in, you know? Somebody they can trust, somebody they can know isn't going to let them down or break that trust. And I guess that's just all you can really do in the world, is be the thing that you want. As cliche as that might sound. What's Naomi? Or not what's Naomi? What's up, Naomi? How you doing? Wherever I went, it didn't seem like they were really far behind. If I went to another room, they would be there no less than a minute later, and the same thing if I went outside. I tried to ignore it the best I could, and at that point, I wasn't drinking and wasn't really having fun. I told a few of my friends that I was gonna head home. They were upset, but were too drunk to even remember. I started the walk back to my house, and I remember going really fast and wanting to get home as soon as possible. I got home, made it inside my window without a window. Inside my window. I got home and made it inside my window without waking my parents up and got into bed. I couldn't help but feel uneasy. I couldn't tell what was bothering me, but I was feeling really just anxious. I went up to grab a glass of water. I poured a cup and just chugged it and headed back to my room to see if I could settle down and just go back to sleep. On my way to my room, something caught my eye out of the living room window. It looked like there was something in the road. I got closer to the curtain and tried to make out what was in the road while not really being seen. And to my horror, it was the same mask that I had seen earlier, continuously stepping in and out of the streetlight. I bolted from my room and just laid there, hoping that I was hoping. See, this is the dumb part. I bolted from my room and just lay there, hoping I was imagining things and assuming it wasn't real and that this would just go away. Why? You're not even that drunk. And you were hoping you were hallucinating? You're like hoping somebody roofied your drink with DMT and, you know. Like, what? What is that even, like, even if you voice that out, the logic makes no sense. I bolted from my room and just laid there, hoping I was imagining things or assuming it wasn't real and that this would just go away. I made sure my lights and TV were off and just sat there in silence. After about 5 minutes, I mustered up the courage to look out my window to see if I could see anything. As soon as I looked out the window, I saw that hooded person and that same mask with the paint on it from the party. Before I could even do anything else, I let out the loudest scream of my life. Frozen in bed, my dad came rushing in, asking me what was wrong. He couldn't make out anything I was saying, so I had to calm down and tell him the entire story. He called the police and reported the incident, but to my knowledge, nothing ever came of it. I think they did get a name, since I could allegedly trace this person back to that party, but there was never really any proof. My parents were really upset with me sneaking out and putting myself at risk, but honestly, what is that? I made up a word? I made up a snurd. Sharks as a whole, 150 million years. Yeah, who even knows, dude? All I know is that sharks are just like fucking automaton robots. No soul. Black eyes, a doll's eyes. Like, what is a shark? It just goes around like, I can't wait to just like thrash. Like, they're just specifically made to just coast through the water and thrash the fuck out of anything that's dead, dying, or like a really cool, you know, like you're on a jet ski and then they just come out of nowhere and eat your arm. Just stupid fucking things. But I know they're very useful, obviously, for the ecosystem as far as keeping it clean and all that kind of shit, but yeah, they really are the apex predator, and it's just, I think we need to go to war with them. Fuck them. But honestly, after that night, I sort of turned my life around, and I focused on school and reunited with my previous friend group. I still have a fear of Halloween and Halloween parties, even though it has been years, and I still feel uneasy when I see someone approaching me with a mask on. Man goes in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Sharks in the water. Jesus Christ. I feel like that guy getting eaten, that specific dude in that movie getting eaten in Jaws, for some reason that death scene just like really fucks me up. Just like, like it just can't do anything about it. Just like slowly falling into its maw. You caught a shark while fishing in the ocean. It was disturbing. What kind of shark did you catch? You quit trolling. Nobody's paying attention anyway. What were you trolling about? Alright. Nurse sharks are different. Yeah, nurse sharks I don't even think are technically sharks in my mind, because aren't nurse sharks just like bottom feeders with sort of like a plate in their mouth to like scoop up grub off the floor? There's a place called Stewart's Cove in the Bahamas, and I swam with over 200 sharks. Ugh. Fuck that, dude. I feel like you just never know when one's gonna do something uncouth. Wonder if like a grizzly bear was like, or no, okay, polar bear, right? Polar bears swimming in the ocean. Do you think a great white shark, somehow they'd cross paths? I don't know. We were transferring one to, the San Diego Zoo. It fell off the boat, out of its cage and box, jumped into the water. Great white shark infested water. It was swimming for about it's been swimming for about 2, maybe like 3 minutes. And do you think a great white shark would ambush it, like from underneath, just like whoosh, fucking grab its ass? And do you think it would even do any damage? Oh, it probably would. They're pretty big. I don't know. Would it even see a polar bear and think lunch? Or would it be scared? Do you think maybe they could have sex and have like a polar bear great white shark baby? That would be the apex predator. Primetime Crime with the 279. Thanks for helping me sleep at night. You're welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much. What if we were living in the age ETH? The age ETH. No mobile phone life. Could be so much fun. You can do that now. You could just get rid of your phone and just see what life is like. Did you guys ever know anybody that just like got rid of their phone and just got rid of their phone for a year and saw what their life felt like? Maybe they get like a landline or some shit so that people can call their landline and leave a message. Do people often tell me my voice is sexy? You're the first, actually. So thank you very much. I'll become Amish. I actually went to an Amish, my friend invited me to an Amish benefit dinner more recently. And dude, the Amish have the, like, it was like a wedding. They said it like, traditional wedding feast. And it was so fucking good. Like, it was all just a big glob of slop. Like, first off, the way they set it up was so intelligent. It was like one table row of food and then another table row of food, but the same options are on each table, and two lines of people can scoop shit out of their food from either side of the table. So you can, you're filling up 4 plates in the sense of like efficiency's sake, you know what I mean? And I was like, that's impressive. But it was all just like a bunch of goop and random noodle shit, and it all just like mushed together. All the flavors complemented themselves. It was so good. Landline has become taboo. Really? I feel like my parents still have a landline, or my grandparents do. I don't really know why it would be taboo. What about a payphone? My wife and I love Halloween more than anything in the world, and we're also fortunate enough to be financially stable. It took me several years of saving and investing, but I was finally able to open a haunted house and hayride attraction. Starting in October, every Friday and Saturday night, we would host the attractions. We'd go all out. We built sets, hired actors, and did everything we could think of to scare our guests. One thing we did that I didn't see a lot of other attractions do was that we changed our attractions every year, like drastically changed them. We gained a following for several years before we decided to close up shop a couple of years ago. Not because it wasn't financially viable, but because of an almost horrible accident that happened on the grounds. Now, for legal reasons, I'm not allowed to say the name of the horror attraction site because it still operates every year. Instead of just closing, I sold it to a buyer that kept the name the same. How frightful. Wink, wink. What? Just gonna throw a random wink, wink in there after saying... Alright. Food tastes better without electricity, this is true. And people smell better as well. The fact that I noticed efficiency of food distribution makes me smile. I don't know why. It was just like I got up there and I'm like, wait a second. Because, you go up there with your friends or family and shit. And I'm like, wait a second. You're on the other side of the table. Is there other food over there? No, wait. We're scooping from the same area. What about that other table over there? No, they're getting the same shit too. And I'm like, holy shit, we're all moving through this really fast. So it's like, in my mind, I was like, it's so stupid. But I was just thinking to myself, I was like, no one has any reason to be like upset or jealous that the other person was like in the good food line. Like, say you look over at the other food line, you're like, what's that over there? Is that pulled chicken? Is that fried chicken? Whoa, what's that? And it wasn't that, it was just everyone got what they got and they went through the thing and then they could come up and get more. And oh god, it was like only like $21 for all you can eat and just like the best shit ever. I'm like, the Amish fucking rock, dude. Like, they might be a little behind the times. Like, they might not have, like, the best Xbox games or whatever, but their food kicks ass. Am I gonna go watch the FNAF movie? Dude, I'm in the FNAF movie. Been to a Vietnamese wedding. I like how they bring all courses to the table to eat family style. No, I've never been to one before. Your wife's watching some Amish Lifetime movie right now. Nice. I did work with somebody when I worked at the hospital who was Amish in the past, and it was just funny because she said when she was 14, that's pretty much when they graduate school, in 8th grade essentially. and then she was in charge of like teaching all the kids below her. As like a 14-year-old, she was in charge of teaching like everyone from the ages of like kindergarten to, you know, her age. And I'm like, that's fucking badass. You're going on a 50-mile backpacking trip this Thursday. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, Lexar. That's going to take you, what, like a week or so? That sounds fun. Am I a fan of Saw? The new movie just came out and has great reviews for once. Interesting. I didn't even hear that there was coming out, but I think I did see somebody post on social media about it, so I might have to check that out. Marry you. Everyone's got to line up. Line up! Instead of just closing, I sold it to a buyer that kept the name the same. How frightful, wink wink. In case that went over your head, that's as much of a clue about the name of the park as I can say. And before selling it, we operated the park for 11 years. I'd like to say that every year was better than the previous, but my wife disagrees. I guess technically she's right, because the last year that we were in charge, it ended very badly. Every year on the last night of the attractions, when we closed the park for the evening, my wife and I would hold a massive party for all of the cast and crew. Everyone from the parking lot team to the actors and costumes scaring guests were included. We would have a massive bonfire, cook s'mores, and even have the projector showing horror movies on the side of the garage. Everyone would stay in costume and try to scare one another. I always loved it. I used to look forward to this party every year. This specific year, the party was a little more rowdy than usual. A lot of these people were a rare breed, so getting a little crazy at the party is not uncommon. Some of the people there asked if they could go through the attractions by themselves. I thought it was a fun way to have the mind scare themselves, so of course I said it was fine. One by one, a few people were going through the attractions. Even with no actors, you could still hear some of the screams from inside. And as the creator, I loved it. It was validation that I did a good job on the setup. One of the attractions we built that year was designed to look like an old school. I don't know why, but when I was a kid, the thought of being in a school after dark always kind of freaked me out, so I thought, hey, let me bing bong wong. Is the new Saw movie streaming or in theaters? I don't know. Let me check. New Saw movie streaming. How to watch Saw X release date and streaming status. On IGN. On the heels of The Nun 2, Saw X continues the flow of pre-Halloween horror movies with a new entry in the gruesome horror franchise. Set between the events of the first two films, Lionsgate is calling Saw X Jigsaw's most personal game yet. Saw X will be in theaters starting tonight. If you're wondering how and where to watch it this weekend, take a look at the info below, and you can also check out our review of Saw X for more details. Saw X streaming release status. Saw X will be released on Starz before making its way to Peacock, per distributor Lionsgate's streaming deal with Universal. As for a potential streaming release date, Lionsgate's last major release, John Wick 4, came to Starz 175 days, nearly 6 months after its theatrical debut. Should Lionsgate follow suit here, you can expect Saw X to hit Starz around mid to late March. No, so it might be a little bit. For some reason, I thought the speed at which like movies were going to streaming and that kind of thing was getting faster, even like popular movies. But I do like that movies are just straight up theater only, because I think it's just better that way. It makes it more about like a pomp and show. I don't know why, but when I was a kid, the thought of being in a school after dark always freaked me out, so I thought, hey, let me bring my fear to life. When the attraction was up and running for guests, I would have actors inside the school. The first few rooms seemed like normal classes. It was bright and vibrant, and the actor was the teacher teaching children. The guests would only see the black of the children's head because they were mannequins. As you continue down the hall, one of the actors would run out of the classroom screaming and holding their neck. They would claim that the student bit them. The actor would slowly turn into a monster and start chasing the guests. The power when... Anyone a fan of Invincible? I like Invincible. It's a really good show. When's season 2 come out? Basically, it's funny. I watched The Boys and Invincible around the same time, and I thought they were both fantastic. And it wasn't even like the superhero thing, but it was more like I just like the evil guys of Homelander and I forget the Invincible guy's dad's name. Dr. Superman. Dr. Super Evil Man. The power would then flick and the guests would need to escape the school with the monster teacher. What? The power would then flick and the guests would need to escape the school with them. Oh, I see. The power would then flick, and then the guests would need to escape the school. Then dozens of actors would serve as other infected staff, and we would have the sound effects of fists beating on doors, implying that the monster students are locking behind. God damn it. Omni-Man, there you go. Yeah, Omni-Man was badass. I don't know, there's something about some character who's just like infinitely powerful as like a variable in a show, like Homelander and Omni-Man, that just seems so interesting because it becomes down more to like the psychology of it and how do you outthink them, or how do they think, or what's their plans per se, that are just a lot more fascinating to me. And then I think just like violence makes sense within the realm of being super all-powerful. Like, why would you be a superhero if you weren't gonna like smush at least one person's head in, you know? Then dozens of actors would serve as other infected, and we would have the sound effects of fists beating on doors, implying that the monster students are locked behind doors. It was awesome and just enough interactivity to suspend that disbelief. As cool as that sounds, going into that attraction without the actors is kind of pointless. This was one of those attractions that needed actors to really sell the fear. Even with sound effects turned on, with nothing chasing you, it's just a big dark maze. One of the girls came out of the exit of the attraction, and she was shaking. Everyone, of course, started ripping on her for being scared of her own shadow, and that's when she said to me, "I hate you guys. A little warning would have been nice. I just didn't expect any other actors in there. You guys really scared the hell out of me." My wife and I looked at each other. We knew that there were no actors inside the attraction. Everyone was still laughing and having a good time and didn't really pay attention to what she was saying. When she walked away, I pulled her aside and asked her what she meant by an actor. She said that when she was walking through part of the attraction, 2 figures ran right in front of her. She said that when she was walking through part of the attraction, 2 people ran right in front of her. She didn't bother to see if they did anything because the shock of it scared her so much that she ran to the end as fast as she could. I decided to turn on all the lights in the attraction and walk through just in case. I was about halfway through when I saw 2 guys sprinting for the exit. I started to chase after them, but they were way faster than I was. One of the employees was standing near the exit and saw the 2 men running out. He actually ended up tripping the one guy, which surprised the other guy enough for me to catch him and then take him to the ground. My wife was watching and alerting the police right away, and they showed up and these 2 guys were arrested. And it ended up being a really messy situation. One of the guys was the ex-boyfriend of one of the actors and the other guy was his cousin. There where they were. So tired. Be funny when you crack your knuckles. It's just like, oh god, like it hurts, but it doesn't actually hurt. My wife was watching and alerting the police right away. They showed that one of the guys was... Oh, here we are. You go to bed. And you go to bed. And you go to bed. And you go to bed. One of the guys was the ex-boyfriend of one of my actors, and the other guy was his cousin. They were waiting for her to go through the attraction. They didn't even admit... Man, I fucking suck. You just got a DM from Milkblood? Who's Milkblood, Robin? They didn't admit to anything, but they were arrested with knives in their possession, so whatever they had planned wasn't good. The woman who saw them when they walked through resembled his ex, and the police think that the attacker was about to attack until he realized it was the wrong woman. Obviously, the woman who was almost attacked and the intended victim. Obviously, the woman who was almost attacked and the intended victim that never went through the attraction were both traumatized and in shock. The whole ordeal was just too much, and that's what ultimately led my wife and I. The whole ordeal was just too much, and that's what ultimately led my wife and I to sell the property. Some people really aren't wired correctly. I don't know what they planned would have... What the fuck? I don't know what the plan would have been if this poor woman... It's a music group. They did an original song for the Uncharted movie. Do they want you to do a music video? Or something? I don't know what the plan would have been if this poor woman had gone through the attraction. I lost sleep for a while thinking about that, and it's been several years since that night, and as far as I know, nothing like that has happened with the new owners. This Halloween season, if you decide to party, please be careful, and maybe don't go anywhere alone. Nice, Robin. That's awesome. They did the original song for the Uncharted movie. Interesting. I didn't see that movie. Was it good with Tom Holland? That was such a weird casting for that movie, to be honest. Not to be disrespectful to him, but it was like Tom Holland as a young Drake, and then like Mark Wahlberg. Like, what? Like, those guys don't fit the video game characters' personalities, like, at all. Honestly, no disrespect to Mark Wahlberg, but he's just... You see him in a movie and you're just like, Jesus Christ, if it's not The Departed or some other, like, fucking Boston bullshit, you know, tough guy bullshit, cop bullshit, you know, fucking tough guy, hardcore, tough guy shit. It's just like, but it, you know, and definitely not fucking Drake's Uncharted. But yeah, Tom Holland is not Nathan Drake, because didn't they fucking have young Nathan Drake in the games at various points? Tom just turned 13. Like, why would they cast him? Yeah, you've cast him for fucking Max Payne also. Dude, I really hate being mean, but it's like Mark Wahlberg should just not be in anything that has like an IP connected to it. Because once you have like a connection with those characters, seeing fucking Mark Wahlberg come in and try to be Max fucking Payne. Max Payne. Oh, fuck. That's not fucking Mark Wahlberg. Like, literally just go find a random thespian guy from New York who needs a break and is good with voices and can make their face a little gristle. You know what I mean? It's just, it fucking ruins it when they just like pump out these like video game movies just for the sake of like making a few bucks, and they never make a few bucks. They never make any money. In my mind, the only thing that they fucking probably do is like the Mario movie whenever they were using it to launder money. Remember when they were, I'm like, that's probably what it is. It's just, you make these movies to fucking launder money. Are you of the same opinion with The Rock? Oh yeah, The Rock stinks, dude. I mean, like, I like The Rock, I guess, as a thing, as a amalgamation of muscle together, you know, but I'm not gonna, like, anytime, like, I remember there was a period of time when The Rock was always The Rock in movies. Like, he got his big break in The Scorpion King way back in the day, and then he was in, remember that one movie, like, The Road, or Walk the Road, or Walk the Line, or some shit, and he was supposed to be like, I'm coming back from the war, and I'm here to tell you to stop beating up girls, or something, and it was just so cringe, and it was like, that was kind of his first serious movie, and then from that point on, he's like, alright, that's it, I'm fucking just like, putting on an IV bag of steroids, and just doing every role I can get my hands on, and I don't know, he was like one of the biggest fucking Hollywood actors, so I guess people go see his shit, but I mean, I can't, like, it's never gonna be like, he's not gonna be some fucking Daniel Day-Lewis, and he doesn't have to be, but he's never not going to be The Rock on screen. Like, it's always just gonna be like, that is a man wearing a muscle suit, you know? Like, if he showed up in your bedroom wearing like a Tooth Fairy outfit, like, you're gonna know it's not the Tooth Fairy. It's Dwayne. Real movies come from the UK. Yeah, real boring movies. The events of this story happened when I was 21 and in my last year of college. I'm 34 now and still having terrifying flashbacks from this Halloween. My friends and I liked to party in college, and Halloween was one of the best nights to party. We got to dress up in sexy and not so sexy outfits, not to mention it was an excuse to act a little crazy. My friends were all beautiful and had the boys drooling all over them, and I was never considered one of the quote-unquote hot girls, but I didn't care. It really wasn't something I ever cared about. I was still friends with all the boys, and I loved hanging out with my girls. Well, this Halloween, we had a party at my friend Steve's house. Like a lot of the college parties, we were basically kids, and many people still didn't know how to handle their alcohol. At about 11, the cops were called for a noise complaint, and we all ran because that's what everyone did in high school, and apparently it carried over to college. My friend Amy told me to jump into a car with her friend Dave, and he would take us to another party, and I stupidly did. The car ride was weird, just him and I, and he didn't talk. Wait, what? John the Dwayne Roxon. You don't like Kevin Hart, don't understand why people think he's so funny. I don't know either, honestly. Like, he was one of those people that, like, had some success with his stand-up comedy. He still obviously does. I guess he's one of the highest paid stand-up comedians. But, he was similar to The Rock, where it's like you see him in shit like Jumanji or whatever the fuck, and you're just like, yeah, that's just one of those, like, Hollywood movies where they're using a popular IP, and it's supposed to be like something in between PG-13 and a kids movie, and it's just like if you were in North Korea, like, Jumanji would be the newer Jumanji remake would be one of those ones that, like, the North Korean president or dictator guy, the great God King, would force everyone to go watch, and that's his favorite movie. And, every day or every week around 7 p.m. on a Saturday, everyone has to watch Jumanji with Kevin Hart because it's so funny. Oh my God, this is so funny. It's not. It's not Kim Jong, short for Kimothy Jong-un. It's not funny. It's lame. Chris Tucker's annoying. Yeah, I did like Chris Tucker movies back in the day, though. Some were pretty good. Tom Hardy could play Max Payne. That'd be so funny if he played. Oh, Tom Hardy. Sorry, I was thinking Tom Holland. Yeah, Tom Hardy would be good as Max Payne, I think, actually. He has a bit of the gristled vibe. You hear Ryan Reynolds is a bit cocky to his co-stars. I heard that he was like very controlling in his relationships in like a really strange way. But at the same time, who gives a shit, right? Honestly, all these fucking super mega stars can, kill somebody and bury them underneath, like in their trunk, and just leave them in the trunk to rot for a long time. And if the movie's good, I probably would still go see it. Who am I to judge? Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Do not understand the words that come out of your mouth. Come on, Lee. Come on, Lee. Come on. What a dynamic duo, those two. They made a Rush Hour 3. The car ride was weird. Just him and I, and he didn't talk much. And the car smelt sort of like beef jerky and had a hint of body odor. He had a mask, but it was on his lap while he was driving. He had a hooded sweatshirt, some jeans, and brown work boots on. He had a scraggly beard and greasy hair. I tried asking questions to make the drive not so awkward, but he didn't really answer them. They teased for 4th Rush Hour? Really? When? I didn't even know both of those guys were still alive. I thought Jackie Chan was 100 years old and Chris Tucker got arrested for Epstein Island or something. Either way, I'm stoked. It actually takes place on Little St. James, the movie. The car ride was weird, just him and I, and he didn't talk much. The car smelled like beef jerky and had a hint of body odor. He had a mask, but it was on his lap while he was driving. He had a hooded sweatshirt, some jeans, and these brown work boots. He has a scraggly beard and greasy hair, and I tried asking questions to make the drive not so awkward, but he didn't really answer them. Finally, I asked what school he went to, and he responded, "I dropped out of college a while ago." Okay, I thought, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, so I asked, "Well, how old are you?" And he responded in a sort of shaky, almost nervous voice and said that he was 37. Now this freaked me out a little bit because he was slightly older than me, hanging out with a bunch of college kids. Wait, who's this person? Oh, he's 34 now. See, when you write it like that, it makes it sound like older than you at the moment. I'm not saying this would be funny, but it would be kind of funny if Jackie Chan died from a stunt filming Rush Hour 4. Well, I don't know, like he fell into like helicopter blades or something. I'm not saying that that should happen. I'm just saying it would be kind of funny if, like, he's always bragging about his stunts all the time, and then this, like Rush Hour 4, the movie that like nobody asked for or wanted, and then he just gets like obliterated in like a really weird way. And you're like, oh, well, fuck. And then they just do an all CGI Jackie Chan. Dude, I would go see that movie in honor of him. Now, this freaked me out a little bit because he's slightly older than I am now, and back then I was 21 and he's hanging out with a bunch of college kids. Trying not to let on to the fact that I was kind of nervous, I asked him, "So how do you know Amy?" And he responded with the most terrifying answer I could ever think of. In that still shaky and very unflattering voice, he said, "Who's Amy?" And I sunk into my chair, clenching my sides, not knowing what to do. "She's the blonde who told me to get in the car with you?" I said, and he responded with this very stoic, "Oh, her. Yeah. She told me you were single." I didn't respond. I honestly didn't know what to say. I was furious with Amy, scared stiff of my current situation, and confused because it was pitch black outside and I had no idea what we were driving. After about a 10 or 15-minute drive, which seemed like forever, we arrived at a house. It was not a very nice part of town. All the houses on the block looked beat up or abandoned. I looked for Amy's car, or any car I recognized, but it was just too dark to point anything out. We approached a red door with severely chipped paint only lit up by the dull front light, and Dave didn't even knock and just walked into the house. The house was cold and smelled awful, even worse than Dave's car. We walked into the front room, which I assumed would be the living room. It had a dirty and disgusting olive green shag carpet with an old brown couch. The walls were white with chipped paint everywhere you looked. Piles of pizza boxes and beer cans lined the floors, which you may think implies a party had been there, but these boxes of pizza were very old. The room was only lit by one lamp that was on the floor, and it gave off a very low light. On the brown couch, there was a man and woman sitting very close, but not really moving. They looked to be passed out. Oops, I accidentally clicked. God damn it. Did I do this story already? I don't think so. That doesn't sound familiar at all, to be honest. Somebody at a party and, just gets into the wrong car. I don't understand. If she's creeped out, why the fuck did she walk into this house with this weirdo? How now, brown couch? I think that would be the biggest controversy, to find out that Jackie Chan never did any of his own stunts. And he just full of shit the whole time. Piece of shit better do his own fucking stunts. I'll find him. They looked passed out. We walked into the kitchen, what the fuck is going on? They looked to be passed out. We walked into the kitchen, which was just more of the same. Trash and the horrible smell of garbage. In the kitchen, there was a man probably in his 20s, maybe 30s, and he didn't look so good. I was still trying not to judge, but he was very clearly not in the right mental state. He gave Dave a sort of high five and introduced me to him as Skip. He looked at Dave and back at me and smiled. He had these weird teeth, and bug eyes made my skin crawl. The other man in the kitchen was an older gentleman, and he seemed to be in his 40s or 50s, I really couldn't tell. And he said nothing and just looked at me. I felt sick to my stomach, and the only reason why I didn't run out of that place was because I had no clue where I was and no clue if these people were capable of anything dangerous. We walked into the back room, which was kind of like a screened-in porch. I felt a brief moment of relief seeing about 6 or 7 people out there. There were only 2 girls out of the bunch, and they seemed like half naked and weighed about 95 pounds. I could feel everybody staring at me, but at least there were a lot of people. I know it sounds crazy, but I felt almost safe just being around this larger crowd. But the safe feeling faded very quickly when the 2 girls walked away with all the guys. They all left this back porch, went upstairs, and shut the door. I didn't even know. You made a perfect, most gorgeous, golden brown grilled cheese. Hell yeah, that sounds amazing. That's probably gonna be Jackie Chan's stunts in Rush Hour 4 is him preparing a grilled cheese. You know, in an old, in a recliner. I didn't even want to know what was going to happen in that situation, but the conversation they were having outside told me everything I needed to know. As I sat in the screened-in room trying to think of my options, Dave finally spoke up and said, "I think you're really cute." I said thanks and just kind of shrugged it off. He got up and started to rub my back and started to breathe very heavily. I should say this was behavior that I was not used to. Boys didn't really talk to me like this, and certainly they didn't rub my back like that either. After about 5 minutes of the most unpleasant back rub I had ever had, he stepped in front of me and just sort of stared at me. He didn't do anything. He just uncomfortably stared at me, and he was way too close to my face. I said to him in a sort of terrified voice, "I'm sorry, but I'm not that kind of girl." And he says, "I don't know about that." I can still hear the seriousness in the tone of his voice. I could feel the tears coming, and then nothing short of a miracle happened. One of the girls who went upstairs began to scream erratically and cursed everybody out in the room. Dave, who at this point was inches from my face, ran upstairs, leaving me downstairs in the back room alone. Without even thinking twice, I got up and climbed right out of the window and ran. Not knowing at all where I was, I just planned on running until I found a gas station or something. I was running down the street, staying close to the sidewalk, trying not to bring any attention to me. I really have no idea how long it was because I didn't have any cell phone on me, and I finally approached this 24-hour Walmart. I walked in and had the night manager call my parents, and they picked me up. It was about 30 minutes from my house in a small rundown town. The worst part was, why didn't she just go out the front door? She didn't have to climb out a window. What story number are we on? Yeah, this is the 5,000th story of the night. Have you ever realized you've ever read a story before? Yeah, sometimes I do. I'm pretty good at like subconsciously burying that information in my head and then suddenly being like, oh yeah, I read this 2 years and 2 months ago. The worst part about all of this was when I was waiting for my dad to pick me up, Dave and his friend, Skip, walked into that Walmart. They didn't see me, and I couldn't believe it was them in there, and they almost looked as if though they were actually looking for something, maybe me. The next day, my friend Amy apologized all day, crying her eyes out, and I did forgive her, but I was still so shaken up by the entire... The next day, Amy apologized all day, crying her eyes out, and I did forgive her, but I was still so shaken up by the entire ordeal. Every now and then, I'd see an old beat-up maroon-colored Buick parked at my school or Every now and then, I'd see an old beat-up maroon-colored Buick parked up at my school. What? There's so many fucking words in one sentence that just like don't belong near each other. Every now and then I'd see an old beat-up maroon-colored Buick parked at my school or... The background noise is relaxing though. Every now and then, I'd see an old beat-up maroon-colored Buick parked at my work or school, and I'd start to tremble in fear. It's now been over 10 years and I still haven't yet to get over the mental trauma from that night. I know it could have been a lot worse for me, and I'm lucky that I left with no physical harm, but I still wouldn't wish that experience that I had that night on my worst enemy. I also haven't seen Dave, Skip, or any of the people I met that night ever again. I urge you to please be careful if you choose to go out this Halloween, and always know where your friends are, because you may end up somewhere you don't want to, and you may not be as lucky as I was. What even happened? I mean, it's not a fun party to be at, but I feel like nothing overtly bad happened. Other than the fact that it was just awkward the whole time. You love cooking in fall. Yeah, fall's a nice time. You kind of get those days where it's really warm and those days where it's nice and just crisps. It's a crisp day. It's a crispy day. I think this is my first time hearing you repeat a story, and that is impressive. There's a lot. I don't think that was a repeat. Like 100%, that was not a repeat at all. I promise you. Never heard that story before in my life. Yeah, that party was not a rager. It was a gamer. It was a gamer house. It was a streamer house. I was upstairs streaming, probably. Alright. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go take something to some magnesium. What's my plan for Halloween? I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go stupid. I'm gonna get wild. I grabbed a soda. Your dog loves seaweed. That's fun. I love dogs, man. They're so cool. They can be kind of annoying sometimes, but sometimes they can be so cool. Like zoinks, Scoob. Extra perky tonight. The didgeridoo. Did I sound like one? Return the Slav. Never heard me say I got a soda. It's a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I swore them off, but they're back in my life for special occasions, such as reading stories online. Got your nails done for the first time in 12 years today, and there was a fight in the salon. That's awesome. Aboriginal. I'm an Aboriginal. A Mongolian throat singer. When I get old, I want to wake up early in the morning and play the didgeridoo to bother the neighbors. Do you know how to play it now? You should learn now so that you can be ready for Dr. Pep greater than kombucha. Kombucha's for... It's just soda for babies. Kombucha's just soda for people who don't want to drink battery acid or aren't tough enough. Socks are just feet prisons. Exactly, that's what I've been saying to all the girls at work. Why don't we slip out of them socks? I need to turn the lights up and my cat is sitting on me. What do I do? You gotta scare her. You gotta scare her real bad. She might scratch you, but it's the only way to get up. Alright, last motherfucking story. Mongolian barbecue, hell yeah. Take me there. This is a creepy story that happened to me a few years back. Definitely more creepy than outright scary, but just thinking about it makes me squirm. It was October and one of the local bars in town was having this sort of joint Halloween costume party. They did it every year and it was always a blast. My friends and always would... I skipped a word. My friends and I would always go with our boyfriends every year and we'd all try and compete with each other for the best couple costume. That specific year, I did have a boyfriend, so I didn't even dress up. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't have a boyfriend. Okay, I was like, I had a boyfriend, so I figured we would just not do it. How's Pradeep? He's good. He's just having a bit of a layabout. I'm the angel of death. Yeah, I just see. It's not. Fuck it, who cares? I see patients and I just say, I just think you'd be better off dead. Yeah. I'm gonna have to just put this pillow on your fucking face. You feel better? You feel better in heaven, I promise. Shush, you're gonna wake up your neighbor. That specific year, I didn't have a boyfriend, so I didn't even dress up. That night started in a depressing way for me. I had only been recently single, so seeing all my friends be lovey-dovey with their boyfriends was not super exciting for me. I ended up popping a squat at the bar and just started getting some drinks. I was talking and joking a little bit with my friends, but I was more focused on my drink, if I'm being honest. I have no idea what time it was, but at some point, some random guy with a really long white beard and long white hair sat next to me. He was sort of wearing a half mask, like think Batman's mask, but without the pointy horns on top and no back. I tried making conversations with the guy, but he wasn't very lively. A lot of one-worded answers and grunting. And I started to get a nasty vibe from him, so I started to give him a bit of the cold shoulder. I was hoping that he was going to get the hint that I didn't want to talk anymore, and I thought that I got my wish because about 10 minutes later, he got up and moved to an open bar stool on the opposite side of the bar. Now, to paint a picture for you, the bar was probably about 30 feet long and was a giant rectangle, so it was a 30-foot across. The angel of death. Sorry. To paint a picture for you, the bar was probably 30 feet long and was a giant rectangle, so it was 30 feet across from where I was sitting. The masked man was across from me and probably 4 stools over. The night continued and I decided to drink water and just Pepsi for the rest of the night so I could drive home. I still sat at the bar and talked to the bartender and a few guests who were sitting nearby. Every so often I would look up and it looked like the bearded man was looking at me. I tried ignoring it because I'm used to creeps at the bar, and I've gotten good over the years of turning them down. For some reason, though, I couldn't stop noticing this guy. It was probably the mask that he was wearing, but either way, I was just done sitting there. I got over myself and finally started conversing with my friends. We were dancing and hanging out, and I started having a great time. Who needs a man anyways? And while we were all dancing, I decided to take a little break and just visit the little girl's room. The bathrooms were in the back of the bar and behind this uncomfortably narrow hallway. I always hated having to... use the bathroom at this bar because it was always awkward trying to get around someone standing in the hall. I was so happy when I turned the corner and didn't see anyone in the hall, though. I went into the women's room, did my business, and just touched up my makeup a little bit. It was warm in the bar that night, so I had a nice glow of sweat going on. I walked out of the restroom, and standing at the end of the hallway was that masked guy with the beard. I don't know why I said this, but the first thing that came to my mind was, "Sup, bro?" And as soon as it left my lips, I wanted to go back into the bathroom and wash my mouth with soap. I was hoping that maybe he was going to sort of have a sense of humor about it, but instead, he just stood there. 10 seconds or so passed, and it felt like 10 minutes. He turned around and walked into the bar section. I practically jogged back to my friends, and they could tell that I was a little frazzled, but I played it off cool. At least I thought I did. I just told them that there was some creepy guy by the bathroom, but I scared him off with my intellectual vocabulary. The night continued, and I only saw the creepy guy one more time. Maybe an hour before we left, I saw him standing by the door. He was leaning in the doorway staring in my direction. There was a bunch of people there, so he could have been looking at anybody, but given the previous few hours, I totally believed that he was looking at me. Then, like the wind, he was gone. I didn't let his presence bother me before, and I sure as hell didn't let it bother me now. We continued dancing until the bar was getting ready to close. We were friends with the bartender, so we all gathered by the door and waited for her to close. Do y'all believe the moon is fake? Like fake as in like a bad friend, or what do you mean? Joel's 14, but he's super deep. I'm a vampire. I do not age. Yeah, the moon did look orange earlier. It was quite pretty. It was the ultra huge harvest moon. Do they call it that? Is that the official NASA term? The ultra huge harvest moon. It almost sounds like a Capcom video game. Are we watching scary videos? Please, Joel. I don't know if I can. It's already past my bedtime by 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You're all slacking off while I'm hard at work. I'm putting in time, baby. Come on now. Would you all ever join a cult? I guess you wouldn't realize you were in a cult until like after the fact, maybe. Only if they had like really cool mud pit fights. We were friends with the bartenders, so we all gathered by the door and waited for her to close up for the night. She locked the door and we all said our goodbyes in the parking lot. I was parked near the back of the lot because they were so busy when I arrived that it was the only spot. When I was maybe 20 feet away from the car, I noticed a sort of strange shadow coming from the opposite side of my car. I stopped in my tracks and really tried to focus on the window. It was that bearded guy, and he was still wearing his mask, and he was trying to break into the back seat of my car. He was slightly crouched, trying not to be seen over the top of the car, and the only reason I could see him was because of the parking lot light that was shining through the windows of my car. He hadn't noticed me yet, so I turned around and flagged down my friend and her boyfriend before they drove off. I pointed to my car and her boyfriend saw right away what was happening. He got out of the car and immediately called the bearded man out. This guy heard him and just booked it into the night. We called the authorities, but they never really could do anything, and just having that little bit of information of a mask seemed to keep his identity a mystery to us. It freaked me out that he knew what car I drove. I can't even begin to imagine what he would have done if I didn't notice him breaking into my car when I did. And I'm just so grateful that I caught my friends before they left, because this could have been the worst night of my life if I didn't. You think if she knew the bartender and it was some like old dude, she'd just be like, who the fuck is that weirdo? Oh, fuck. Let's read this outro. You guys can think of a funny outro for me. Something very funny. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights. I'd love to see you there. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit or send them over email, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, Halloween is 30 days away. Ooh, spooky. No, it's not 30 days away anymore because it's now 10/2. Remember, shake your big harvest moon. Okay. Thanks so much, friends. And remember to shake your big harvest moon. Boom shakalaka, yeah. You just ate a whole bag of candy corn, holy fuck. Dude, candy corn's one of those like candies that's like, I don't even know. All I can imagine is just like high fructose corn syrup put into like a vat of butter and just swirled around until it like takes shape. That sounds fucking awesome. Alright, fuck it. Let's watch one video. Uno mas. Well, that's one more. Whatever. Who cares? One fucking... Who are we watching? Beelzebub? What the hell's his name again? Bizarre Bub. Oh, he already... Wait, what about Sir Spooks? Sir Spooks a lot. Oh, his videos are long. Damn. Alright, 10 videos you should never watch alone at night. Thank God you guys are here. Sam Sulek. We're going to watch Sam Sulek weightlifting videos. Watch him drink 2 gallons of chocolate milk. Alright, let's think. Elevator. Music. Okay. I'm going to make that real small. I wish there was a more efficient way for me to do this, but it is what it is. Alright. Oh wait, I gotta change up the scene. Hey David, thank you for the 1, and Amanda Funk, thank you for the 5, says thanks for making my night better. You're welcome, Amanda. Thank you guys for kicking butt. All right. Sir Spooks. Fuck, dude.
Hello everyone, my name is Sir Spooks, and today we'll take a look at 10 scary videos.
All of these like scary
But
video
before
guys
we
have such
begin,
interesting
make sure to
voices.
Subscribe to my channel for more scary content. I have a goal of reaching 1 million subscribers, so it would mean a lot to me.
Shanus, thank you for the gifter. To Shell.
Alright, with that said,
Shell
let's
Bell.
begin.
Can you guys hear everything okay? Oh shit.
This clip comes to us from a TikTok account known as PG Stories Official. In the video, we hear a woman explaining to the viewer that her and her kid just got back from eating dinner and noticed that her bedroom light was on for some strange reason.
Noticed an alien.
She says this weirded her out a lot because she did not remember leaving it on.
Sorry.
At one point in the video, the uploader tells her kid to wait in the car while she goes on
My
inside
porn
to
popped
have
up there
quick
for a
look
second.
around just to make
Just
sure
kidding.
that everything is okay. However, as soon as she exits her vehicle, she notices this in her window.
Listen, I'm gonna walk inside real fast. I want you to wait out here for me. Yeah,
1 million subscribers.
Oh my god. Somebody broke into her. Yeah. Oh my god.
Somebody broke into her house.
Somebody broke into her.
It just says it casually,
God.
doesn't give a shit.
Somebody broke into her.
Alright, let's replay that 16 more times.
Oh.
Joel
Jaden,
uses Windows in light mode.
Go next door. Go next door.
What are
and
you
try it,
saying? I
okay?
don't know what you're saying.
If you hear me scream, y'all hear me scream, call 911. Okay?
If you hear me scream, call 911. Not just call 911 right now. Yeah, this is real. Timothy Ellsworth, thank you for the 1 month. Or gifter,
Upon
too.
seeing this strange
Shorty Meg.
shadow-like figure in the window, the mother states that somebody definitely
And
broke
Elia
in,
Poison,
while her kid can be
welcome
heard
to
in
the
a
Buttersock
panicked and
cult, my
scared
friend. You now have
voice,
access
telling her to get back
to
in the
bonus
car.
content. Yeah, there's no fucking way
While
this
most
is real.
people probably would have called the cops and left the scene immediately, she instead enlists her kid to call for help if something goes wrong, while she goes on inside to investigate. Sadly, just as she opens the door to investigate, the video abruptly ends and we are left wondering what exactly happened after the footage ended.
She didn't
Do you
have time
think
to
that there
scream.
really was a shadow figure
She got
looming in their
yeeted.
house, or was it actually
Oh, light
a
meaning.
home
Oh,
invader
yeah.
like she
I forgot you
suspected?
did just see that part.
Both of the voices of the kid and mother
Where's
seem
dark
quite
mode on
authentic in
Windows?
how
I don't even
scared
know
they
where that
were.
exists.
What do you make of this?
What are we
eerie
watching? We're
footage?
watching
Be
spooky
sure to let me
videos.
know in the comments below.
Compiled by our favorite spooky guys. Oh shit, we get some alien shit?
This video
that's
was
real as
uploaded
fuck.
to the YouTube channel UFO Today, all the way back on October 28th, 2009, and is without a doubt one of the creepiest pieces of potential UFO footage out there.
What? How, dude? That
The
looks...
footage in question was filmed at an undisclosed location in the middle of the night and shows something utterly baffling and creepy at the same time. At first, we see a large UFO mothership hovering around, which is already quite creepy as is.
fuck.
But things quickly escalate when this happens. Take a
It's
look.
kind of sick that Sir Spooks does fucking alien shit too. Anybody had a really scary Ouija experience? Oh shit, it's just shitting out fucking babies. What is that? Dude, what the fuck is that? Is it making that noise or is he adding that noise in? Oh, he's adding it's music. LM, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. Good to see you. Type dark mode in the Windows search bar. Okay, I'll do that next
It
time.
immediately becomes clear that there isn't just one UFO
They just
flying
shitted out a
around
bunch
in
of
the sky,
babies.
but rather several small
But what's that other
ones.
thing in the sky? Is that just
Despite
a rocket?
the fact that this video is well over a decade old at this point, nobody has ever been able to properly explain what exactly is going on in this
Just
video,
pooping out little
and
alien
whether or
baby
not
eggs.
it's real or all some cleverly edited piece of footage. Have you ever
It's giving-
experienced an injury that required immediate
Oh my
care
fucking
from a
God.
chiropractor?
Really?
Well, my brother went through this recently. Today's sponsor Dave can assist you
Oh
in
my
managing
God.
unexpected
me the
millions
fuck
of
outta
people.
here.
Dave posted this
Ah!
chilling video to his TikTok account on May 26, 2023, and shows some eerie footage that looks to have been filmed on a home security camera
The Dave
system
app to
that
to
he had
get a
set up in the
chiropractic
house
appointment. I love that.
the footage in question may be quite grainy, so it's unfortunately a bit
Alright,
hard
perfect.
to make out
That's how you know it's
precise and
authentic when you
sharp
can't see
details
shit.
as to what exactly we're supposed to be
Oh, what's
looking
that
at.
man's
But
face?
nonetheless, the footage is definitely unsettling. Have a look.
Is it Sasquatch? Ew, what is this shit? Where are we? It's the Devil. The Devil himself. What are we looking at, dude? Some sort of shadowy beast. Yeah, it's definitely Dog Man.
The video shows a pair of two glowing eyes
Where
that
are
seem
they-
to belong to what appears to be some sort of dog man or
Is that a
werewolf,
garage or what?
staring
the fuck?
into the camera in an extremely menacing manner. To this day,
It's a channel
nobody's
that just
entirely
does
sure
sponsor
what
ads,
Eric
and that's their
managed to
content.
catch on
Yeah,
camera that day.
I always thought it'd be funny
Let's
if there was a
just hope that
channel that
whatever
just
it
like
is,
only
if it's
released
real,
apology
doesn't
videos.
try to haunt him on a day-to-day basis.
Every one of their
from here on
content is
out.
like, I promise we'll get back to normal content. I just wanted to address something. I'm so sorry for eating that body whole.
This next video was posted on the
Oh, this is
wildly
definitely
popular
fake.
UFO subreddit, which contains
Wildly
pictures
popular.
and videos of exactly that interesting and chilling UFO sightings from
Having a
around
slice
the
of
world.
cheese from this fridge at 3
This
a.m.
particular piece of
Challenge.
footage was filmed on August 30th in Poland. The upload of the video also posted this paragraph of text alongside the video to give viewers a bit of context. Quote, "So it was 7 p.m. my local time, almost sunset. I was riding on my bicycle, training after work, on the local road near a highway leading to Lublin. You can hear cars' noise. Then suddenly I saw an airplane with trails and two white round-shaped objects, which were flying
can hear
parallel to
cars'
each other with the
noise.
same speed,
You can
without
hear
audible
cars'
noise of
noise.
engines, like a plane. I took a video. I was trying to focus on these objects, but you know how it works with a normal camera in a smartphone. Anyway,
What are we even
aircraft
looking
flew into
at?
large rainy clouds, and these objects maintained their speed and disappeared in clouds too. I was checking the sky for a while, then I went straight ahead. It was strange, but I'm aware that in eastern Poland, there is a bigger NATO military presence due to the war in Ukraine, so it could
Oh, this
be
is
it.
recent?
I leave it to you. P.S. I'm a space passionate. I look almost every night at the night sky, and I saw a couple times strange objects with erratic movement. That's why I wanted to post this video here. Cheers." End quote.
What the fuck? They're just
The video
like...
is definitely quite fascinating, and it is guaranteed to make you think and scratch your head in utter bewilderment. What in
I'm
the world
utterly
could be going
bewildered.
on here that makes rational sense?
You seem more than cool.
Perhaps a real
I like trying to chat with
extraterrestrial
someone you don't
spacecraft
know.
would
It's so
be the
hard. I don't
most
know what to say.
rational
I'm just chatting,
explanation.
finally getting cooler out.
But this may end up
I
being
hear
a
them
mystery
socks.
that never gets properly solved.
Hell yeah, dude. Everybody get your butter socks out. That would be interesting if there was like a bunch of
A Reddit
UFO
username
spotted over Ukraine.
7580 posted this eerie piece of security camera footage online
Finally,
that is
get some
creeping
ghost shit.
people out all around the world, and for a very good reason, as you're about to see. The footage in question was filmed at a mall in the middle of the night, where all is extremely quiet and uneventful. The person who was watching over the security cameras
Maybe a
was
camera on a
probably quite
balloon? Yeah,
bored with
probably.
nothing to do, but likely got the shock of their life when they ultimately saw this happen.
It's just like, I don't know. It's just so funny. There's so many fucking voices on YouTube. Oh shit. You know, one time wow, that's a lot of fucking... Is it just turned on or turned on? I remember one time more recently, well not more recently, I think it was on his Twitter or something, Mr. Nightmare showed like, or shared a, or no, it was Instagram, but like shared a salt shaker getting thrown off of a table or something
Out
at a
of
pizza
nowhere,
place.
a strange sort of toy can be seen moving around the mall floor,
A strange
seemingly
sort
all
of
by itself.
toy.
The upload of the video states that it's possible that there could be a simple battery problem with this particular toy, which would cause it to roam around like that. But other people are not entirely sure about that and seem to be convinced that this is the work of a paranormal entity. What do you think about this video? Does it show proof that even ghosts like to play around with toys? Or was this a weird battery malfunction on the toy? Be sure to let me know.
Damn, I don't know, none of these are really hitting,
This next video comes to us from a
hitting
TikTok
quite
user
like they
simply
normally
known
do.
as UFO
Maybe we
Idiot
become
Guy, and
desensitized
it's
to
definitely
spookies.
quite short in length, but it is without a doubt a very puzzling piece of footage. The video shows
The
a man
animatronics can get a
recording
bit
around
quirky at
outside
night.
sunset, seemingly with nothing of interest going on. We are looking at a bush when all of a sudden
A bush?
something genuinely terrifying happens. Take a look.
Hello?
Holy fuck. Little. Oh, come on. That we're about to get.
Hello?
Was it crawling at? It looks like an owl. Definitely looks very human the way it kind of moved, though. Enhanced video. Look at that. Enhanced video. You get 2 more pixels. They just wanted to tie his shoes, man.
Suddenly, an extraordinarily creepy grey face can be seen peering out from behind the bushes, causing the uploader to step back a few steps. At one point, it almost looks as if the strange creature is getting ready to get closer to the uploader, but the video ends before we are able to see what happens next.
With no follow-up, and nothing makes any sense.
Almost everyone on TikTok became convinced that this TikTok user managed to capture videographic evidence of the existence of aliens and extraterrestrial life. But what do you make of this weird piece of footage? The lanky creature definitely appears to be alien.
The animatronics can get a bit horny at night.
But is it possible that this was just something else altogether? Could this simply be some guy in a costume?
You uploaded a creepypasta?
We may never know.
Nice, dude. Thanks. Yeah, it looks like the blow-up alien you went at the fair. It really does.
This next video comes to us from a user on TikTok known as the Movie Guy.
Wait, did it actually blink?
In the video,
oh shit, Movie Guy always posts the best videos and has the best facial hair.
Following video, writing, quote,
the best pouty
face. My friend
face.
filmed these 2 today in Yellowstone and thought that they were a bear at first. Then when he rewatched it, he realized they were on 2 feet. End quote. Definitely quite intriguing.
Oh shit.
So let's take a look, shall we?
Well, I do appreciate the fact that he shows stuff that's not just ghost stuff, because I do really like Sasquatch shit and alien crap. Get that on a t-shirt. I really do like Sasquatch shit and alien crap. Dude, that's kind of sick though. Dude, I fucking love Sasquatch, man. I really hope we capture one day and just keep it in a fucking zoo. Honestly, I wouldn't mind devoting the rest of my adult life to just like finding Bigfoot. I know that seems like a waste of time to some, but to me that just sounds chill.
All of the beautiful greenery aside, there is definitely something quite odd about this footage. It all appears fine until you look closely and see 2 seemingly quite tall creatures
definitely looks pretty
roaming around the
bipedal.
area.
Holy fuck,
As
that's
the
so
story
cool.
goes, the uploader after filming the video showed the video to park rangers,
Even though it looks
who
like shit,
confidently
I don't
told him
know, I like to pretend
that he managed to
believe
capture
it.
the elusive Bigfoot on camera. Do you think that this TikToker actually filmed videographic evidence of Bigfoot, or was this just something else? Either way, it's quite interesting to watch.
They say about big feet, big shits.
When you picture your local grocery store, you probably just think of it as a place to, well, buy some groceries. However, as it turns out, not even simple places such as those are safe from terrifying activity.
Bigfoot, just more Bigfoot.
This YouTube video was published
just
online
like smashing
by a man
through the
simply
front door.
identified as Christopher on July 27th,
Yeah, that was me and
2008.
Jensen walking on the
It
plains
shows
of
surveillance
Yellowstone.
camera footage from the deli aisle of a store somewhere in Connecticut. The security camera footage starts off normal as
Dude,
we
he's
watch
got
a
the.
boring
This
night,
is like the
but
blurriest
suddenly
shit.
becomes rather eventful quickly.
Ever watch Franco TV? It sounds familiar, but I don't think so. Wait, what's about the... Oh. It's always weird when, like, ghosts are like, I'm gonna move this fucking chair. I'm gonna slightly move this chair when the security camera's looking. Oh, fuck! That was more than slightly. Oh, dude, he's tossing that shit. My God, he's pissed. Nobody saved him a spot at the table. It's from YouTube Christopher.
Many objects in the store can be seen getting moved around in an unnatural manner for several seconds before the video
Ever
cuts
watched the
off
Big Les
abruptly.
show? No, what's that about?
In the description of the post, Christopher also says that the owner of the store saw the condition of the place the following morning and proceeded to call the police.
He
The
does
police
ghost
report
stuff alone.
lists
He's
it
a really,
as an
he's a real
unexplained
one.
phenomenon,
Okay.
which is
Franco
surely an
TV.
understatement. Apparently,
There's that one
the
guy that
location was also
Japanese,
used as a
like he
running
goes
location
into
during
Japanese channel that
Prohibition.
goes into
To this day, the unexplained
places for ghost
phenomenon
hunting, and
here has yet to
I've
be
seen a few of
explained,
his through Bizarre
and
Bub,
it
and it's
likely never
pretty
will be.
fucking scary. But if he is like just somebody who's like good with computer graphics after the fact, there's one.
This horrifying video will be sure to make your heart
There's
beat
Jensen
right
going to
out
get
of your
a
chest.
piece of
It
cheese.
shows security camera footage that was filmed inside of this family's home in the middle of the night. All is
Behold,
peaceful
the
and
police
quiet
find the
until
ghost
suddenly
that did
a young
this.
boy's voice can be heard crying out somewhere in the house. Immediately, the father of the child comes to see what's going on, but there's just one problem.
This guy looks like he's wearing like a potbelly suit.
Good.
Chong. What the fuck? I didn't see that part. So wait, he heard the sound somewhere else?
As it turns out, that was not his child.
Oh,
The
okay.
voice that you heard
He didn't give
crying
birth
was
to an
actually coming
ectoplasm?
from an alleged paranormal entity. This whole video feels like something you'd see in a horror movie. Of course, we cannot prove that this video is
Wonder if it would be
real, but
easy
it
to
definitely feels quite authentic.
Fake videos. I mean, I
And if
assume it is just like
then we
overlay.
can only hope and pray that this poor family gets out of that house as soon as possible.
Aji, where are you going? Keep showing this
UFO
footage. I
sighting
wonder if this is
videos
just
usually
B-roll.
depict the flying
guess it
saucer
is
in
probably.
question as being in the shape of, well, a saucer. However, UFOs are not always that shape, as this next video from Reddit proves. Posted to the UFO subreddit, the footage was filmed by the Reddit user who
Yeah,
was
when kids,
riding on
yeah,
an
when kids or
airplane one
dogs
day
freak out
in
about
the
stuff in
window
videos,
seat when he looked
that does
out
seem
at the
pretty
sky
authentic.
and saw something rather odd.
All right, more UFO shit. Let's go. Oh, there it is. Dude, I've seen weird shit on planes before too. Nobody ever don't believe me.
That's not a plane, dude. There's no wings, dude.
That is strange. I guess you just can never tell what is what anymore. What type of craft, drone
That
shit.
definitely appears to be some sort of UFO for sure, but strangely
Guaranteed,
enough,
for sure.
it appears to be in the shape of a Tic Tac, just like the famous Tic Tac UFO caught on video by fighter pilots back in 2004. A statement from the uploader reads
With
as
CapCut, you
follows.
can make some real fake
Quote,
ones. Yeah.
was flying over Nevada, near Nellis
just gonna
Air
start
Force
a-
Base. I noticed this object outside the window.
I'm gonna start
it
a
was
YouTube
little
channel
closer before I
for
started
ghost
filming,
videos.
and visibly
But
no
all the videos
wings
are just
or
gonna be
tail.
fake ones I make.
It seemed to also be a little
With people I
fat,
know.
scientific term, to be a plane. I showed this to multiple airline crew members, including the pilot.
Someone
and
saw a
they
gorilla
stated
on the wing
that
of the
it
plane
was
before,
definitely
back when
not a
guns were
plane.
allowed on planes.
To be sure,
And
I
back when
filmed
you could
planes
smoke
at
crack
roughly the
comfortably
same
on a
distance,
plane.
and you could clearly see wings
That's your
and
constitutional
were much
right.
thinner. I tried stabilizing the video as much as I could. I noticed it had a distinct tic-tac shape to it, so I got a little excited. End quote. So, next time you see a weird
In all
object
my
in
years
the
of looking
sky
at
that
pixels
doesn't appear
online,
to
I
be
can
in the
say
shape
without a
of
shadow of a
saucer,
doubt that it's a
just
UFO or
remember
maybe a
that it could very
smudge.
well be a UFO.
It's clearly a baby
And
smudge.
that was 10 scary videos. I
Ah,
hope you
what?
enjoyed the video, and if you did, then subscribe for more scary content. My name is Sir Spooks, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Chong bong wong. Well, I don't know. Wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. But I'm glad we got to hang out a little bit and watch some videos. You guys rock socks. And I will go ahead and get these Halloween party videos up on Patreon first thing. It was very educational. All of that was to educate all of you. And it was very transformative. And I'm not going to jail, or I'll die trying. But yeah, I'll get those stories up and edited over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there. You can do a free trial as well. Congratulations to anybody who got gifted a membership tonight. Be sure to thank whoever gave it to you. And be sure to check out the new bonus content over in the bonus content playlist. Also available over on Patreon as well. But GG's everyone. GG's. Sleep tight. Be well. And I'll be back streaming for all of you again on Tuesday. Schmeevening. So I hope to see you there. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy and Instagram at letsread.official, and follow my TikTok clips channel, let's.read.clips. A lot of dots in there. 20 dots. Let's read . It's a Morse code signal. I hope you can figure it out. But yeah, we'll see all of you again soon. Thank you for being the best community on YouTube, hands down. But adios, friends. Farewell.